budgets to go through, quite a few this evening. Events and announcements, we know we are still looking for volunteers to fill the positions on the Board of Assessors, and Planning Board is looking for alternates, as well as ZBA. So if there's anybody out there that would want to consider that, we would appreciate it. In the meantime, let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Peter, since we got your budget late, you think we're gonna put you on at 10?
Just say you can let the
No.
smaller departments.
I was gonna say, it won't be so bad at 10, because there'll only be 2 selectmen here. So
Maybe just a budget. That was his plan, you know, tire us out.
Well, now you're gonna have to walk us through each line item by line item,
I was
so
gonna say, won't you let the smaller departments go first?
you wanna do that?
There's no sense in having them sit through mine, out of 3 of them.
Okay, we've got the library, the summit, nobody give us cemetery.
I told them not to come until 7.
Okay. Patriotic purposes, I'm assuming it's the same, recreation, town clerk, tax collector. We'll let the library go first.
How you like that, Peter?
I'm just doing that.
Hi, Michelle Pelletier, treasurer at the library. I believe you received our warrant article request. But I'm not sure if it also included our budget, so I'm not sure. It did not.
Well, your warrant article requests did not have any backup. It was just a line item along with an explanation of.
Right, basically. So yeah, basically what the letter said was that we are going to ask for a little bit more money this year, because we are anticipating having to change our director in the next couple of years. I hope all of you are very familiar with Ann Sweeney. She's been our director for many, many, many years. Yeah, probably longer than I've been alive. Do we know how long she's been the director? I'm not sure.
26 comes to mind, but I.
Okay, yeah, that's a little bit. So, so we are requesting more money simply because she is currently getting about $13,000 a year, and anyone else we bring in is going to definitely expect much more than that. So that's basically our reasoning behind that. With, and, you know, in addition to the things that I'm sure everyone else is griping about as well, that expenses are going up.
So I guess my question is if she's not leaving yet, why are we requesting an increase in preparation for her leaving?
Mostly because if we do bring someone else in, you know, most likely they're not gonna have a degree, so they will need to have some training. And so we're going to ask her to help us with that before she leaves. So we're gonna basically add an additional employee or 2 before she leaves. I mean, honestly, just an additional $3,000 probably won't even cover that one person, but we figure, you know, we could ask for a little bit more to help us out with that, just to, you know, also kind of see who we're going to get, what kind of candidates, and then hopefully over the next couple of years get a better idea of how much a new director is going to cost us.
Do you have a copy of that request?
This handout we got tonight is a table of what libraries in the area
Yes,
get
so,
for revenues.
yep, so the table I gave you, I had to narrow it down. There's, of course, over 200 libraries in the state of New Hampshire. But that comes from the New Hampshire State Library's website. I put the address at the top there. And I highlighted a couple of the libraries that are near us that have similar populations, similar budgets, just kind of to point out the fact that, you know, they're operating along the same lines we are. I've talked to several of those libraries, and their budgets are a little higher than ours. So just kind of just, you know, to.
This is not budgets, this is their total revenues.
Right, sorry,
What
yeah, so what
actually
they're,
does it cost to run a library on a given year?
the New Switch Library, it's about 42,000 is our most recent budget.
And those costs are 13 for the head librarian, and what else?
Oh, so I have a little bit of a breakdown. I didn't print the actual budgets, I apologize. But yeah, we provide probably about $3,400 in our own fundraising, through different events throughout the year and different things that we do every year. But on top of that, everything else is an expense. So we have about $31,000 a year just in basic, offerings, such as our payroll, the books, ebooks, and magazines. So just, you know, kind of basic things that a library would provide. And then additional offerings that we provide to the public, about $740 annually for museum passes and programs. We try to have a program every month. And then, of course, there's basic needs of about $5,000 in heat, electricity, and then different licenses and subscriptions that we need in order to run the library. You know, our catalog, our membership, you know, to different things through the state.
Excuse me.
That's
Do we
about
have a
5,000.
breakdown of your budget?
You don't.
We don't, okay.
I thought it came with the letter, but I guess it didn't.
Okay.
So the things I listed are about 40,000, and that was just kind of like off the top of my head. I would have to get you a better breakdown if you want that.
Well, it was 42,000 for the year to date, is that?
Yeah, we just did our budget a couple months ago, and that was what we've projected for the next year.
And you got 57,000 in revenues this year?
That I don't have on here. I'm not sure.
It's on,
Oh yeah, that was
Total.
last year. So that was 2017. We haven't, you know, reported fully for 2018 to the state. So that was last year, and that was in, you know, 37,000 from the town, and
Right.
then an additional 20,000 from our endowment, the investments,
And also fundraising.
and fundraising. Yeah.
so other revenues is fundraising and whatever you feel you need to take from the endowment? Or is
Right.
or is there a set payout?
No, it's just as needed. So if any capital expenditures, we'll pull from that. We just had our carpet replaced. Someday we'll get the building painted, and we had a tree cut down, and then of course we'll have to replace our the big thing that heats and cools. Furnace.
What's the endowment worth?
Limited?
Limited, and how so?
Limited to only capital items?
No, it's basically, you know, it's kind of how we wanna spend it. We do have a financial advisor through Raymond James that we work with. We see him once a year. And then, he's requested, or he's told us
Yeah.
that we could probably take, you know, 12,000 every year.
So I have a question for you. You have on here that your total revenues for the year are $57,124.
Last year, yeah, 2017, yep.
Well, I don't have one for this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so $57,124 in total revenue, with total expenses of $42,114. Where'd $15,000 go?
Well, the revenue does include that bit of the endowment, but we don't actually pull that out. So that's kind of, you know, it's in a separate account, basically, through Raymond James. It's not in our bank account. We're not spending that money. So at the end of the year, like this previous year, at the end of like the fiscal year, I guess, when we were waiting on the check from the town, we probably had like $3,000 in our bank account.
Do you collect 15,000 a year from this account?
I mean, give or take, you know, we put it in there and, you know, we have the report at the end of the year. But, you know, like this year, we had a $40,000 month, and then, you know, the next month we lost 35,000. So it's just, at the end of the year, it's hard to say how much exactly we have. I haven't.
What's the total value of the endowment?
Right now, we have our statement
Prior to this week.
prior to this. Yeah, actually, yeah, I don't know, we haven't gotten our previous, statement, but it was $781,758.24 at the end of October.
So if I'm understanding you correct, Michelle, is the town and your fundraising gets you to a certain point,
12 months, yeah.
12 months.
Yep.
And then your investments got you another 12,000, which got you up to the 57,000 in revenue. So essentially, your expense side of things was somewhere around $45,000.
Right.
Why wouldn't you be taking some of that annual revenue from your investments and helping to offset it?
Well, we could, we haven't needed to just yet, like I
Because
said.
we've given it to them.
Well, and believe me,
That's what
I've
we-
always been a proponent for the library, okay? But when I saw it at 40,000, I'm saying, geez, it wasn't that long ago. I think it was 30,000, and I
Yeah.
was encouraging them to ask for a little bit more, and now it just seems to be an annual increase. So
Yeah.
Uh,
if I could just understand it better where that money's going.
It's just sitting in the account, we're not doing anything with it, we're just basically investing it, just
Well,
keeping it in there.
With a budget of $42,000 and $781,000 in the bank, you could go 19 years
Yeah,
without having to ask anybody for any money.
that'd be great for the town,
Well,
but then we wouldn't have any money, and then.
I
once the town
understand, but
didn't support us,
to
we'd
be
have
sitting on
shut down.
$750,000, that's a boatload of money. You
Yeah.
could put a new furnace, a new roof, paint the place, and put an addition on and still have change left.
Yeah,
So,
That- I mean,
I'm just-
I'd like
yeah.
to respond to that, and once you've done that, and what would we have? We'd have a building that's over 100 years old, which is fine, okay? But I look at that endowment as future growth. And
well, the future is now, so
Maybe- Pardon?
the future is now.
Well,
How long are you gonna wait,
And the other
Earl?
thing, I may be the only one looking at, and saying that wouldn't it be nice if we, let's say, could raise, let's say, $4 million, or start this as seed money for a building program, and come out with a library that, and a senior center, or something that would enhance the town, to add value to the town, also to, provide a social, a place for people to gather. And if we deplete the endowment that we have, or the investments that we have, then we start with a goose egg.
And I really wouldn't expect you to spend it all, but
Right.
I would expect you to use some of it
Well,
for,
then, we are using some of it.
no, you're not.
No, because you're. Well,
You
I
haven't
mean,
used any of it.
well, I mean, last year you asked for $37,000, so it means from the town,
Yeah.
and you said then you had fundraising that went on top of that,
Yeah,
and your total operating expenses were $42,000.
okay.
so we're doing fine right now, but like I said at the beginning, we are gonna have to get a new director, and that's gonna be a very large portion of our payroll expenses, if not, it might even double it. We have no idea who we're gonna be able to get in to run the library.
So, but again, maybe I wasn't clear before. You're asking for an increase for a director you don't have, and a director that will not be a director within the next 12 months. So you're planning to raise payroll for someone who doesn't exist.
No, there is, what Michelle is trying to say, that there will be a period of time when we will need to keep the present director on board and bring in another director that they can work together for a certain period. Is that what you're saying?
Right, because most likely
To
anyone
make
we
for
bring
the,
in.
for the transition,
But
Is
could I
it gonna be
suggest
trained?
that to make that transition,
yeah.
you need money. You have your investment just for 2017, never mind 2018, that hasn't been used for anything. It's going back into your investment, which is great, okay? But why don't you use that, and then if that salary adjustment has an impact that your investments don't cover it in 2019, when you come for 2020, budget, another year, look at requesting an increase then.
Well, what number are you suggesting that we increase? I mean, I'm opening myself up for, you know, a
Right.
barrage of low numbers here.
Well, the thing is you can't even tell us because you're asking for an increase for something, for an unknown. You don't know what, I mean, so you put on here, Lime Borough has $13,000 director. No, I understand the other one has a 21 and one has a 25.
Right.
Okay? But if you bring someone on bring them on as a trainee or whatever, at that point you'll be able to train them, pay them out of the endowment, and then next year you'll know what their salary is, and at that point you'd have an idea of what to ask. But like I said, I just have a very hard time saying that this is a input from the town to help run the library when it's not helping to run the library, it's running the library. And your fundraising, is also going towards, padding your own endowment. But,
You mean, well, we're using the fundraising for expenses, but
Right.
it's not padding the
Okay.
endowment.
well,
The way I'm reading your financials is this year you came up about $3,000 short. If we funded you 37, you had 20,000 in investments and fundraising, that brought you to 57.
expenses were 42.
The expenses were 42, so take the 12 off that they said that they didn't use, which was what they got from their investments. You're down to 45. So the 42 to 45, $3,000, if you didn't touch your investments, somehow came from somewhere. Money in the bank account or whatever it may have been. Here nor there, I'm just looking to say, and I don't have records of how long ago it was, but I think the town was funding at a $30,000, and I encourage going up. And now we're a few years later, in my mind, I'm saying that's already over 20% that we've increased, and now we're gonna be asking again, which would bring this up to over 30% increase.
I mean, I guess we're just asking for, I guess it comes down to the townspeople voting whether they want to, keep funding the library. But then also, I think it would probably be a little, I don't know, in the taxpayer's mind, I think, if in a couple years we come and say we want 50,000, it's gonna be like, whoa, why so much, whatever. I think it might be a little easier to just kind of increase a little bit over the next couple of years, training a new person, and like I said, finding out how much that person is going to cost us. And if we can level out at, maybe 40,000, then we won't need any more. And again, it's the town investing in us,
Could I just caucus a little bit here? But within a minute?
Sure.
It was 30 for a long time.
Yeah. I don't remember when it was that.
Well,
I
last year was
guess it was
37.
probably, yeah, but I'm saying when it was 30,000. I remember, I think I was on the FAC at the time, and I said, it's always been 30, you guys run a great,
My issue is $781,000 that they should be using.
I don't think they should be using what they have in their endowment. What they should be using is the interest that's
Okay,
generated.
well, that's where I'm
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
They collected $12,000 a year, just putting it in a savings account.
Correct, yeah.
And they're asking
They had
us,
$1,000
Okay.
investment.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember.
In the interest of moving along, and so that Peter doesn't have to wait till 11 o'clock,
He had no place else to go.
we'd like to counter and just arbitrarily split the difference between 37 and 40 to 38.5. That's, if it's a foolish gesture and it's not something that we should, it's my idea, so, do what you want with it.
Well, my sticking point is, Earl, to be honest, is you guys have revenues that you're making off of your money and you're just putting it back into the bank. You're not using your interest. You're just building more interest off your interest.
We're trying to grow the endowment.
I understand that, but at the same time, you know, a gesture from you guys would be to use half of what you're pulling in off of your interest. Cause it's money in the bank.
That's something we could consider, and we'd have to have another meeting with the library board. And even at this point, I'm kind of out on my own, because we just caucused here and made that counter proposal.
And I'm not looking at it to be a negotiation thing, it's
Right.
more of, look, can the library function at the level that you want it to provide the service to the town where we are today, or what does it take? You know, not so much like, well, we'd like to plan for this, or we'd like to minimize increases over time. It's more of, what does it take? And if it meant in 2 years, it's gotta be a $40,000 or $45,000 hit at that time because of X, Y, Z, I think I'd rather look at it that way than say, well, let's start putting money aside so you could invest it and use it at that point in time. Cause like this
Well,
year,
that's-
if you use the 6,000, if you
I
used half of the 12,
I understand what you're saying, but like Michelle was saying, is if we're going along at the level that we are, and then we look for another 7,000 or 8,000 or 10,000, then it's like a whammy in front to the town, and they say, hey, you know, what gives? And we gotta, it's really a matter of,
but what do you see in your long-range planning that would cause that type of an occurrence? That you would have to say, hey, you know, our investments are getting 12,000 and we're still gonna need to ask for another increase of 7,000, that we've got a $20,000 increase. Do you see anything in that long-range planning that would require that?
one thing off the top of my head is that building. That building
Well,
is
yeah.
100 years old.
It's young, okay?
Well, I know, but I mean, as soon as you start doing anything to it, you know, you could have large costs in there. I don't know,
Isn't
you
that what your
know,
endowment is for?
pardon me?
Isn't that what your endowment is for?
It
And
is,
you could
yes.
take some funds
It is.
It is.
for any capital expenditures like that from your.
But if we were to think about doing something in the future, you know, another building, let's say.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, I know it hasn't happened for 100 years, all right, or whatever, but at some point in time, the people in this town may want, you know, a more social library
Mhm.
and a meeting place, particularly for elders in this town. You know, it's all,
Yeah, I mean, it would just be nice to know that the town supports us, you know, gradually getting a little bit more money each year to then give back to the town, to do something with that, but we can't really plan for that when, you know, we don't know what our investments are gonna do, you know.
I can understand not knowing the investments, but the long-range plan to know, i.e., you were just mentioning about, well, we might need a new facility. Well, you must know that, hey, we've got a library with X amount of square footage, that's gonna accommodate growth up to, you know, a town of 6,000, whatever it may be.
to tell you the truth, it's, the need for space has exceeded the requirement, you know. The library that we have is small. I mean, I don't mean to belabor that point,
Mhm.
but it really is. And if we were to increase, do programs which would increase the size of the audience, I had that issue with, I was planning a certain function this past year, and I knew that the people that would come would not fit in the library.
But do those functions need to be held at the library?
No, and I looked around town, where else could I have it?
And we had a
And it was
successful
tough.
program with the rec department during the summer.
And it was
You know, we
tough.
had, what, 120 people were there, so we held it at the school. But, you know, it's things like that where, you know, we need help from other people to make
Mhm.
these things happen, from the entire town.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're just, you know, a little bit extra money each year to kind of help us along is all we would need. And going back to the new director, I mean, 13,000 isn't much, she doesn't get benefits, she's not full-time, You know, I mean, maybe, you know, if we were able to find someone who could commit themselves to being the librarian in New Ipswich, they would want benefits, they would want, you know, more hours, and you would definitely open the library for more hours. So it's just a lot of different things that are gonna cost a lot in the next couple of years.
But you have to understand, or I'd like you to understand, is as a town here, we have employees that we also can't offer benefits, that they would love to have benefits, they'd like to get more hours. And in order to try and stay within our means, we have to try and work around those challenges.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
Oh,
would
yeah.
just ask that, and I'm sure you do,
Oh,
but,
yeah, we've definitely aware of a lot of those different things.
yeah. I see you doing math over there, Mr. Visa.
Nope, I'm all good.
So where does that leave us? What would you like to submit for a warrant article funding the library?
I think the town would support 40,000.
You realize if they don't, you don't get anything.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
It wouldn't go to a default.
Nope.
No,
It's a
last
warrant
year's
article.
budget?
you are a warrant article. That is different than the town budget.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, as we get ingrained in us by the RSA's is no means no. So if a warrant article goes to no, you can't even say, well, I'll pay for it out of the budget. No, you can't do it.
Okay.
What do you wanna do? You're gonna stay with 40,
I think so.
Barbara? Huh?
I mean, we voted on it as a board weeks ago, so.
Yeah.
And you have that. Did you draft the warrant article?
Did I?
Or have we?
We just have the letter.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we don't draft that, we just send it around.
Both the select board and the budget committee have to vote on what they prefer. and The actual vote will be on the ballot as far as.
Right.
Whether you support it or not.
Yeah.
Right.
How many support it, how many don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much sway it holds.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Right?
You don't need to take them out.
Can we get a copy of the Parks and Rec?
Yes.
It's only one. Thank you.
Jim, by any chance, would you recall what the figure was for the ambulance budget? Yeah. You probably did, I just didn't have one with me, and I'm starting a new page to keep track of warrant articles.
It's still the same, you're still, under the same licensing.
Oh. BW Parks, where's my,
We got Comcast now.
I think it's, yeah, I don't know how that works with the licensing,
What's the,
the movies,
it's unfortunate because we're a municipality.
yeah.
If you were a school or a charitable organization,
With the library,
you could get it for next to nothing.
yeah.
But as a municipality, they, cause I did some research on it, and, yeah, it's just unfortunate that, if that's, that you can't get
Recreation?
support.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Carlotta went to go get us the budget sheet for cover sheet.
Do you want me to wait for Carl? Well,
That's all I
Jim's
have.
gone too,
That's it.
so.
Well, she sent us this and then gave us this as backup. But Carl
Yeah, I
had to
kinda-
print
Yeah,
it.
you can say
She didn't
whatever.
print it
It's
out.
my
Printing out the budget
Yeah.
sheet for it.
Sorry with the first one I sent. My second time doing this, so I'm kinda still learning as I go, so I don't know.
No.
I feel.
You only get to use that once.
No.
Now
I'm
you,
learning all
now
the
you are
time.
what we call seasoned.
I'm totally like.
We'll give you the first year. After that. Thank you.
You bless mine too.
Thank you.
Hmm?
So David, is this school parks and recs combined?
No, that's just Parks and Recs.
Okay.
Some more that one first too. So we'll have to give them that. Yeah. I'll give them. You can just.
But read down further, and it says Parks and Recs.
Right, I see
All right.
that section there, yes.
Oh.
We don't have the pool yet either.
Yes, we did.
No, you guys made it, but.
Yeah. You want a copy?
It's just like last year's.
Well, we don't have last year's either. So, all
You
right.
wanna give them a?
I'm not really sure where to start, if you guys want me to. Oh, we're still in Virginia.
Put your budget into
He didn't
No,
even make it through the
no.
library budget. He didn't even make it through the library. He didn't even make it through the library. Hmm? Always, yeah. I noticed that the first time I ever met him in a meeting. It bothered me since then.
Mhm.
I think as soon as he realized that Peter was going to be later, he left.
Why don't you start? Let's start right at the top. Why are you requesting an increase?
Because I work very hard for it. And my ultimate goal for the rec department is to make it a full-time position, because it's really something that it takes full-time focus to really make it work, and in order for it to be something, for it to be a position to provide everything that I feel like the town wants out of our rec department, it needs to be a full-time position. That being, like having events or, programs for senior citizens and things like that. I have a hard time being able to focus
I think it's
on other areas, with not being able to put in the proper amount of time. So
Hmm?
those certain things get overlooked and sort of
He already had.
not really. So this is sort of just my way of saying I want to do more. I want to make the rec department better. I want it to grow, and I want it to be something that we provide for everyone in town, not just select groups.
Well, we've always had within the rec budget for adult recreation, so it was
Mhm.
covering the full spectrum, but I don't think that the board here ever thought that the position was ever gonna be a full-time position,
Mhm.
which just is not the size to be a full-time position. One of the things I've been requesting, and I don't know if Carlotta's pulled it together or not, but the board has been asking for an expense and revenue for each one of the departments, because we sign off constantly on funds for the revolving account, but we don't know how each one of those accounts is doing. Meaning, you know, did soccer bring in enough revenue to offset its expenses?
Mm-hmm.
Did basketball, all those
I
different?
did just receive that request yesterday, was the, so I don't know, when you say you've been requesting it, so I started pulling some of that stuff together, and at the end of every season, I kind of look at all that stuff, but I
But
wasn't
that
able to
shouldn't be
gather all
something,
of.
let me just interrupt you. That shouldn't be something she should have to pull, Carlotta. Roger should have that information.
Well, it's broken into the different accounts, so I have a sports account, and most items are sort of broken up that say basketball or soccer. But for instance, when I was looking at the report that I pulled yesterday, there was something in there that had soccer next to it, which I know was a payment that came from a basketball registration. So there's discrepancies, I think, with some of the things that get entered in. So, but for the overall picture, the sports, I have, they're all in one account. And then I have a different account that I do the Autumn Fest and Easter egg hunt and dances and things like that. So I have, it's, the whole picture, not each individual.
But what I'm saying, Nicole, is when you get a bill for the Autumn Fest, I'm presuming you are coding that bill to a line that would be for festivals, let's say.
Correct.
Okay. My expectation isn't that you're pulling all of the accounting to justify this, because we have a person that we're paying to be doing this.
Right.
So when your bill comes in, he's putting it into our system. I'm hoping he can pull the report right
That
off of the
just says
system.
Autumn Fest, just
No,
specifically?
what we want to see is Autumn Fest expenses,
Right,
revenue.
right.
Is it worth doing?
Mm-hmm.
Soccer, expenses, revenue. Because the way we've had this discussion previous about that revolving account is the revolving account is not a savings account to use however you want. It's to pay for things that you're gonna be getting the revenue later in the season.
Correct.
So,
Yep, that's how I use it.
and that's the only thing we wanna be able to see is
And I
that.
try to be very, very careful about whether or not an event is gonna make money, and I'm going to recoup the money that I'm spending with fundraising or even just ticket sales or whatever it may be. So I am very careful. I know it's not perfect. Obviously, there are losses here and there. But yeah, I have not been able to ask Roger to break it out for each individual event or program.
I think there's some room for improvement in terms of, we have the expense accounts, and maybe you want a finer detail. Maybe you don't just want festivals, maybe you wanna have Autumn Fest on its own line.
I just want to be able to, like we're saying, the revolving account is for specific things. And in my mind, it's for each one of the activities you do. Sports, you do basketball, soccer. So it's just to see, okay, soccer, we brought in this amount of revenue. This is what the expenses were.
Correct.
We're doing good.
Yep.
Or we're not doing good.
Right.
But as a board, I think we need to know that. And that's all I'm looking for. I don't want to know you bought 42 balloons for Autumn Fest. I
Right.
don't.
So do you want me to provide something like that maybe at the end of every event, every season, just to say, send it over to Carlotta and say, okay, this is the end of soccer season, let me give you what we've done for income and expenses. That way you don't have to look for it
But this is what my concern is. This is my biggest concern with this. You're doing accounting, and I have somebody down there that's doing accounting.
Right.
His is the one that I need to know, because that's what it ties out for our whole system. So I think you can save your time. And
Okay.
Well, he should be getting income reports and expense reports from you anyway. Every time you purchase something,
Yeah, it
And every
goes
time
into
you have
the
money come in,
Right.
it's
But
gotta-
he's the one that would generate the report.
Right, and that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, she's feeding him the information anyway.
Exactly.
So
But
he
if-
should just be
yeah.
able to give us a report.
But I would say probably at the end of the season, you should
I
ask
think
for
it's
it.
good for me to know
Right.
Yeah,
anyway,
you-
I
yeah,
should
sure.
know.
Well, at the end of the
So, yeah.
season, you should ask for it, and
Right.
then you'd already know, hey, something's in here that's not right.
Yeah,
So then it could get fixed before we get a copy of it and look at it and go, what's wrong with this?
I definitely agree.
But then you'd also already be able to answer why something did or didn't happen right. Well, yeah, we had something and it rained for a day and a half, so.
Right, yep,
And we have asked for some numbers, and we don't seem to get exactly what they asked for, so I don't know.
sometimes I don't feel like I'm speaking the same language.
Well,
Not-
I saw what went down.
Yeah.
You know, Roger will give a report on expenses, and then Nancy says she'll give a report on income,
Mhm.
okay? When in fact Roger can run both reports.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
but then one valuable piece of information that Nicole needs is what is the balance in the rec revolving fund?
mhm,
And apparently what I've learned is that is not its own bank account.
mhm,
It's run through another account. And somebody needs to have an accounting of, you know, this is your balance.
yeah, what's it?
You know,
it's
all right,
actually-
maybe you earned 2,000 on soccer and you lost 1,000 on basketball, you should have a balance of 1,000.
Mhm.
Right.
We haven't been able to get that piece of the picture yet.
Per year.
Exactly, for over a year,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And I
we-
feel like I've asked in different ways, but I don't I don't know, I kinda let it go, I don't know.
Will you tell Roger, a week from today, I wanna see that? Okay? There's no reason for it.
Yeah,
Either
okay.
you do it, if he doesn't know how to do it, we'll bring somebody in from BMSI to say,
No, we need to get Nancy and Roger in the same room.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that
Make
they're,
them
they
go
both
with the
understand what we're looking for.
Yeah,
we even got,
because we did
revenues.
get two different balances
Yeah.
from each of them one time, and they were like $10,000 or $15,000 off, and I'm like, so which one do I go with? I don't know.
did they resolve that?
No,
No, I just kinda like.
These are
That's not
things,
good.
these are
That
things
is
we need
not
to
good.
know.
We
And
need
not
to know
be-
this.
Not to be
Yeah.
like
Just-
anything, like to go back to the full-time rec
No,
thing,
that's
like,
them.
this is the stuff that I have trouble spending my time on, cause I'm busy trying to put on the programs, and so I come up with these questions and I have these concerns, and then it kinda gets put on the back burner, cause I'm like in the fire of something else, so.
Yeah, but
I wish I
something
had more
like,
time.
something like that, we need to know like now.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a huge discrepancy. And
Okay,
between
alright, I
the-
wasn't sure if it was just me, and maybe I'm not asking the
Well,
right
from what I
questions.
understand, between the two offices, we've got close to 70 years of experience in accounting, so
Yeah,
there
okay.
shouldn't be any issues.
Can I ask a question? Just for my own, so when you spend money or you receive money, on the invoices, you're submitting those invoices to Roger
Mm-hmm,
for payment, and you're just writing on, if this is for Autumn Fest, it's Autumn Fest, if this is for soccer,
soccer,
this is soccer.
I put a
expense.
corresponding,
Right.
like
So
account
then
number.
he knows what line to put it to.
Yep.
And the same with the revenues, revenues are kept separate and you do
I give
You
those to
deposit them
Nancy,
yourself?
no, I
You
give
give
those
those-
to Nancy, and then Nancy,
the
you know.
same thing, coded the same way,
Mhm.
Autumn Fest, whatever, okay.
Yep,
And just looking at the calendar now, we're gonna give
And then-
Roger until January 8th.
okay?
Well, that's mighty nice of you, Dave.
It's not January
get it.
1st?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
From a procedural standpoint, a department head like this, or director, whatever you want to call Nicole, during the months that she's operating, her busiest months, that a month-end revenue and expense report should be emailed to her, so that she can then see if something's coded wrong, Roger can go back and fix it, Nancy can go back and fix it, and you know month to month, or 2 months, whatever
Yeah.
you're doing.
They have that practice with the budget,
mm-hmm,
but it hadn't been implemented for the revolving fund. And, you know,
Yeah.
it should be.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
I
that's our
mean, that's an
primary
Yeah.
audit control that the auditor.
source. Because like over the years, we've, you know, gone away from town funding tax base, and then it's the people that use the programs that pay for the rec department, essentially. So without knowing what's going on in that revolving account is like flying blind.
And that's why I kind of basically just focus on what I know has come in from, say, registrations from a program, and then I be careful about what I'm spending as it goes out, because I already know what the revenue was. And then I'm like, well, we can't spend any more after this, you know?
But rather
Which is
than,
kind of like
rather than keeping it up here or even have to do the accounting, we should be able to provide that to you,
Mhm,
so.
mhm. Okay.
Thank you for enlightening us.
You're welcome. Mhm.
Dues, subscription, and fees.
So
Oh,
that's.
wait a minute, can
Yep.
we go in order?
Well,
Repairs and maintenance?
Repairs and maintenance? Go back there.
I'm looking at the one that went up 1,000%.
Yeah. Yes, well, that's,
Yeah.
for the movies.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm. So where do you guys want me to be? What,
Repairs and maintenance.
Okay,
Okay.
so, the skate park has been in my sights for a while. It really needs a revamping, and I was hoping I was gonna get to it this past summer, but I didn't. So currently, I have some money still available in my current budget that I'm working on, buying a few, pieces of equipment for the skate park this budget year. But before I'm gonna go ahead and do that, I want to make sure that the other pieces that I wanna get, which would be the bigger pieces, next spring, could be covered by the repairs and maintenance. So I started emailing with this.
You won't know that till March.
What do you mean?
That's when the vote is.
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, if you guys approve it.
It's not us. You won't know that till March.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to buy your stuff and you have the money in this year's budget, buy it.
Well, I only have enough for this, in this budget, for a portion of.
But I
what
need you to understand
Yeah.
clearly.
If
Okay.
you don't
Keep
buy it,
telling
it's
us how you
gone.
knew.
Yeah,
If that money is not spent by December 31st,
right,
it's gone,
okay,
okay?
all right. Well,
And then
if I can
you
get a
don't
few
get you don't get
pieces
a
of-
you
if
don't
I-
get approval till March on your next 2,000. So you've got 3 months that you're sitting there with nothing.
Okay, so
So-
then I will get those pieces of equipment that I wanna get regardless. I know, and they're doing a special
and a
deal,
half.
so I can save an extra 10%, but I wanted to wait until I came here and talk to you guys first. But, so I have that in the works. But do you guys wanna see the pictures of the ramps that I have in mind? That doesn't, no, okay, so, that's my plan, getting new skate ramps. And I'm working with the
How many people
company.
use that skate park?
Ooh, I mean, I couldn't tell you how many, but it's a lot. There's kids down there all the time, especially when we're down there, when we have practices and stuff. All the kids who are in practice, like their little brothers and sisters, they're always over there on their scooters, bikes, skateboards, and then there's kids, I know I've driven down there, homeschool groups go down there and use it during the day, during, the regular school day. I mean, there's a lot. And there's, the not so good kids that go down there and use it sometimes and aren't very nice, and leave it a mess. But
Well, that was where
overall, it
I was
does
gonna
work
ask
good.
Peter my next question, how much time do we spend down there cleaning it up? Because I know when I worked for the highway department, it was one of the greatest eyesores in town, was that little caged-in area.
It's not
and
very
I-
pretty to look at,
and I
that's
was
for
a-
sure.
I was an opponent of then, and I am now, that we cut the fence off at concrete level and put up some 4x4 posts and put a nice gazebo in there. But
Yep.
that's my opinion, but anyway.
But it would be a safety issue because it's at the parking lot, so you don't really want kids sliding off into the parking lot.
No, he's saying
Oh,
get
cut
rid
it.
of it.
No, in other words,
Oh.
he's getting rid of the skate park.
Oh, no, we can't do
Be an
that.
adult
We can add a
recreation.
gazebo though. I'm in favor of adding a gazebo down at the park,
Put a
for sure.
gazebo on the skate park.
Yeah, we'll put a gazebo. I thought that's what you were talking about.
No.
Gazebo of the skate park sounds lovely.
See how
Has there been any improvements down there? Because that used to
I-
be the biggest problem.
I haven't, has there been any improvements?
I don't mean improvements in improving the ramps and
Right.
whatnot, but more of, because I used to always hear is, I don't even want to take my kids down there
Right.
because of the language of the older kids at the skate
Yeah,
park.
I mean,
Well, you get
It's-
that from the
it's-
basketball court too, it depends on whoever's using whatever facility, so there could be kids playing football out on the baseball field swearing, and we'll hear about that, it's like, there's nothing we can
There's,
really do
you
there,
know.
you know.
But when we're down there, we go over and talk to the kids. Most of the kids know us, and you know, we go and speak to them and tell them it's not acceptable, and we get kids to pick up trash and stuff like that. But yeah, I just think it's one of those things. It's like it comes and it goes, and
'Cause I don't think there's any more negativity happening at the skate park as there is any other part of the park, like in the, whether it be in the dugouts, the baseball fields, or
yeah.
anywhere.
I don't think any porta potties were set on fire this year. So
Hey,
that
hey,
was a
don't even
bonus.
bring that stuff up. Don't let,
I know.
Sorry.
Luckily, the kids play on
now you
fire.
know what's gonna happen. You brought it up.
It's like a challenge.
Whoops.
Maybe it's bonfire.
Okay.
So
So spend the money you got,
yeah.
and then hope you get more.
All right. Deal. I got it.
Dues, subscriptions, and fees took
Okay. Yeah. So
No,
that's
we're on
where-
leases.
That's where I put
You're
the.
skipping, David. We're on leases, and now
but she
Oh.
gave us the explanation of the leases.
she gave us explanation on the repair and maintenance. You made her talk about that too.
Because I thought she was gonna give
Yeah.
us
So
something
the
else
next
on
thing is for
maintenance.
the
Oh.
porta potty.
She only talked about burning down.
So that was a perfect segue. I guess I am getting good at this.
So that's just for the outhouses.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And now,
Need my calculator.
I'm good so far.
now we can talk about dues, subs, and fees. If you
And now
guys
she's
want.
running the meeting.
If you're ready.
Mm.
Okay. So, the last few years, we've been doing outdoor summer movies. And previously, Stearns Burton has paid for them, but I had heard last year they were sort of on the fence about paying for it because it's not really in the scope of what they like to pay for, the educational, enriching type programs. And these are movies, and they're not always educational. It's just sort of a fun thing.
Didn't they pay for a mentalist last year?
We're not gonna go there. Keep going.
Just
At any rate,
He was pretty good.
so I,
no, just reminds me when I sign checks next year. That's all.
Did you hear specifically from them, or did you just hear?
yeah, no, it was talked about. Yeah, at one of the meetings with one of the members. So I just thought I don't know, due diligence, if that's the right word. Before I get turned down for it, I would try to see if we could cover it with our own budget. Because I do know that they have offered already to help us with the Fish and Derby in the future, and they do help us with other programs with like the Museum of Science and other things like that. So I don't want to overburden them to, those are higher ticket items that I need paid for, if that makes sense.
So you don't charge for these?
No, it's a free outdoor movie. We sell snacks.
But I look at, and this was my perspective when I saw this. I says, first of all, how many children go there? Or adults, whatever.
It varies on like really good movie nights. We've had 40 to 50 people there. The really slow nights, it's 5 to 10. But
So it's working out $290 a movie. I could almost give them tickets and send them down to the cinema.
want to do a
And-
raffle?
Well, I'm just wondering, is this something that is recreational more than entertainment?
Yeah. And if you're saying 50, yeah, you're talking quite $6. Yeah, you're talking $6 a person. You could take them to Fitchburg on Sunday afternoon to the matinee.
Yes, but they get to use our beautiful town park and sit under the stars with their kids with
Right,
blankets and
there's a
pillows
sense of
and-
community to the whole thing, you know,
Yeah.
just hanging out. I get it,
Yeah.
I do. I'm not that stodgy.
It's really a lot of fun, and I invite you to come join us over the summer
Right.
because
No,
it's a great
You
time.
know they have.
You haven't had a
some
movie
movies
there
out
that I want to go see.
Sometimes,
We'll
well,
let you pick a
we'll
movie.
let you pick a movie. Sometimes,
Jay's just excited because he just knows that you're going to bring a calliope out there and play along with the silent movies while they play. So
you never
he's-
know. Sometimes we do events before the movie. We've done karaoke. We've done bottle rockets, like the shooting things. We do like science experimenty things. We had tie-dye planned last year, but we had a couple movies get canceled, so we didn't get to do that yet. But so we try to coordinate and line it up with like the pool is closing for the evening, so people stay after they get out of the pool and watch the movie.
Now, I heard somewhere this evening that the library could probably do something like this for shorter money because it is a nonprofit, right? Was it you,
Yes.
John, that said that? Somebody-
But
Is
they
that
have
something-
very, very limited space at the library.
No,
Right.
but
But
they
they
could
could,
buy the
they
license,
could, it could be sponsored by,
sponsored by the
The
Northwich
library
Library.
did it at the park.
Oh, I wonder. I don't
Right.
know.
Well,
I don't
that's-
know if they have to do it in their, I don't know, I guess
No,
we could
they-
look into that.
I can't imagine they'd have to do it in their building,
No,
but I'm
they
saying if
didn't have-
I don't
they
know.
did it with the rec, you know,
'Cause
sponsored
they-
by the library, you guys run the projector, you get the movies, it's just sponsored by the Northwich Library, that's all.
There's something to look into, I guess, but,
They
I
were
hadn't
here.
thought about it. Yeah, I knew I wanted her to stay.
Well, you're on that board, right?
Yeah.
So you know something.
I know a few.
No, but seriously,
Yeah, I mean,
Give that to
I
David,
hadn't
please.
given that a thought. I've asked them about their licensing and how they got it so cheap, you know, but I never really. And I know I get the question of like whether or not it's indoors, outdoors, like when I'm talking to the movie licensing company. So I don't know if that also plays into their pricing, because they do ask indoor, outdoor about how many people you think will be attending, do you charge, is it free? They ask you all these questions, so.
can
I don't
people
know.
see from their homes that live in
I can't see it. I can't.
He's not gonna tell.
I can't see it.
Yeah, he's saving $6.
I'm still on Amazon Prime, don't worry about it. So, is that something that you can,
Yeah, at least
look
do some
into
research.
alternatives and strike that out of that budget?
Strike it out of the budget.
We'd like you to go to the library.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to remove it from the budget myself, but if you can find another way of doing it and do it for less, then I would encourage you to do that.
I mean, can I look into that before I say I wanna strike it out of the budget? Or could
Well,
I
if-
compromise?
If two
I
selectmen
don't-
say that they're gonna remove it from your budget, it's not an option.
Oh, well,
So,
To me, it's not recreation.
I would be
Okay,
opposed
that's-
to,
even
I would
though
be
we do
opposed to
stuff
removing it
before
from your
the
budget, honestly, so.
Mhm.
But I'd like to see you finance it some other way
What would
if
it
you
be,
can.
cause there's all the other towns that do these movies, it's run through the recreation department, so
Mhm.
I don't know. It
Yeah.
seems like it's a recreation thing to me.
It's something that's been growing over the last several years, so I'd hate to take it away, but I would, I'll.
Do any of the other towns charge to go to it?
yeah.
No.
No.
Not, I mean, not that I know of.
Yeah.
Every time I ever
I'm
say
good
advertise,
with
it's a
leaving
free
it.
movie to the
You are.
community.
Yeah,
I mean, I
guess you could
Would
gate
prefer
things
to
off to try to keep.
I'd prefer to find another
Oh,
way,
yeah, that's
but,
good
Yeah,
point.
it's a kind of
Yeah.
a,
Yeah.
but I'm
mean-
fine with leaving it in the budget.
But if you could talk to the library, I would encourage you to do so.
And I guess my other piece is, so you said you had some movies canceled last year. Do they refund you that money?
We have 1 year from the original license date to re-show it, so I still have time to re-show those two movies, so I technically still have the license for them. I was planning on showing them in the early part of the season,
So that's two movies already you have
Mhm.
licenses
Mhm.
for.
Right.
every year.
which is why I put two prices in here too, so, currently if we commit to 4 movies, it's $1,300, but if we go to the 6 movies, it's, $1,740.
We've got two.
Right.
So.
Right.
So we could-
We generally show 6 movies.
Right, so you could cut it to 4 though,
Yeah,
since you've already got license for 2.
So let's
Yep.
reduce that line to 13, and then if you can do any better with the library, we'll reduce it.
Yeah,
again.
and look it up. I don't know whether the library would qualify or not.
Mhm.
That's what I was trying to find out. But
So,
it might be. I mean, the thing is, like, the churches are able to go through a whole different licensing company for it,
yeah,
and they do it based on the average attendance of the church.
right,
So even if you have a large attendance for a one-time showing, that's not what you're billed on. You're billed on your average attendance for the church. So if you're a church of 100 members, you can say 100, which is legal. I mean, it's completely fine because they don't expect you to go, well, we could have 500 people. But you could have 500 people show up. You only pay a yearly license fee on the 100 that you that is your standard attendance. So I don't know how they do that for a library, or if they even qualify, but it'd be worth looking into. They may know someone through the library website, because otherwise you're going through the same company, MPLC or Swank or whatever, but maybe the library has connections on how they would be able to do that. So it's worth looking into. But yeah, I'm good, $1,300 for that line item.
Thank you. And I will continue to talk with the library about it.
So it takes $440 off, right? So versus 12, 5, 10.
I reduced this, but
Mhm.
that's something to discuss. So 12.5.
So even if it can't be run through the library, you two gentlemen are good with leaving it in
At
the rec?
1,300.
At 1,300, yeah.
Why would we be doing that if it's not recreation? Should we retitle this then?
Well, I'm not-
Recreation and entertainment?
I'm
I
not
mean,
saying
we-
it isn't recreation.
Yeah.
I was just looking to finance it a different way by suggesting going to the library, that's all. Because they can get the licensing hopefully cheaper than the Parks and Rec can get. I mean,
Well, I
it'll
mean,
still
really,
come
I
out
mean,
of
in
our
all
budget.
reality, I mean, we part of the rec department is the fall festival. That's not really recreation. It's people going down there and
Entertainment, I feel like, is part of
Is
recreation.
the
Yeah.
farmer's market part of recreation? It goes to the rec department.
It goes through the rec department, correct?
Right.
So that they could use the property here.
so.
It doesn't hit the
I mean, we're still
It
using.
doesn't hit the budget.
Right, we're still
Correct.
using the park and the park's facilities and everything else. If they're doing the movies at the park,
Yeah,
we're still using the park facilities,
but before it was funded because, the way this evolved was because they were getting it funded elsewhere.
Right.
Now it's hitting the budget line.
Well, the people do pay to go to the movies.
No, they don't.
No,
Refreshment,
you
strength,
can't,
and
No.
because they could stand on the
spirits
outside of the fence and
so
watch it.
means of
Yeah.
refreshment and diversion.
So recreation means, David, a means of refreshment or diversion, or refreshment of strength and spirits after work. That's the Merriam-Webster definition of recreation.
I could interpret that a lot of ways. You wanna go?
Actually-
You wanna go down there?
Now I want to have a quick cocktail.
Can I partake in that?
Let's go liquor license.
Licenses.
Yeah, we actually thought about a way to actually make some money out of that.
Yeah.
You might have to have
Expenses and
a
that
back
stuff.
door on the tent for other people.
It'd be fun to laugh.
Now you're talking.
So yes, I'd leave it in there, even
Yeah.
if the library did want to help to fund it.
Well, yeah,
That's your question.
yes, I leave the 1,300 in there.
How did we get a bill for electricity for Parks and Rec if that's not under Parks and Rec?
I've never understood that. I feel like Joanne, when she was still here, she was saying something about having Roger take that off, but I don't know. But I will say, actually, last year, I had
The
the
Christmas
lights
tree.
put on, yeah. But I thought I had had that money taken from the adult recreation line item. I didn't put it through electricity, per se, cause I didn't,
We'll pull the invoice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
Doesn't matter,
sure, yeah.
PTA Park.
Cause that's not really something I don't know how to budget for.
Well, she was the one who manned it because it wasn't gonna be lit up at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the
And I think
PTA
that
now
was
does
under
theirs up
$50
at Harbor
or
Hill.
right around $50 last year. It didn't really cost much at all.
And they cut down your tree and put a different one up.
No, I don't, well, actually, I planted both of those.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, I helped to plant both of those.
Maybe it was the lights I bought under adult recreation. I don't remember. Something under adult rec.
So these numbers here, guys, aren't even correct, right? Or do we not have FICA and Medi and whatnot, because
We
those
don't
numbers
have-
aren't in there.
Right, we don't have those in there.
Yeah.
We're not looking at an accurate
No,
budget, yeah.
We can figure
Well,
that out quick.
Be within
Yeah.
We should be
Probably.
figured
Yeah.
out already.
No, I'm sorry.
That's why I'm saying I can't plug,
Okay, so 6,000 times 6.2%.
Well, we're not at 6,000 yet because we haven't,
We haven't had that discussion.
Okay.
right,
Okay.
You pay FICA and
So-
Medicare on a stipend?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You could figure it at the 5,000, because that was last year's budget, and then if we change anything.
But this is the proposed budget, that's the proposed number.
Correct.
Right, so we
Yeah.
need those numbers.
So the proposed FICA
Okay.
and Medicare
Yep.
will be based on the 6,000.
Sure,
Okay.
yeah, that makes sense.
So do you have that?
She's gonna do it.
Oh,
He's whipping out his phone, he's probably gonna.
what do you need to know? What's the figure?
6.25, right?
6.2% for the FICA.
$372.
310?
372.
372, yes. And Medicare?
1.45%.
$87.
How many?
87.
What'd you say it was, 1 point?
4.5%.
For the 400 we took off and we ran it back in. 400 and some change.
$459. $12,969.
When you get
What do you want?
$12,969
For what?
total here.
13,409?
You take the 440 out of the, fees, subs, dues and fees.
Wait a minute,
Just our proposed.
I'm
Oh,
only
okay.
talking her
All right,
proposed.
Yep, yep,
Her proposed was
12,969
13,409.
plus
okay.
13,409, yes.
And without, salaries or FICA and whatnot, we're at 6,510. Do we not budget for cleanup day anymore?
Yes, sorry.
That was a line item, I guess at one point in time, now that I'm
think that
looking
you can-
here. We used to have the autumn festival, which I think you come out of the revolving account, the fishing derby.
Mhm.
Does the cleanup day come out of? See, that
Um,
really shouldn't be out of the revolving account.
Yeah, I mean, I think when
That's not
I had
recreation.
bought,
The way you guys talk it is.
No, that is rest and refreshment after work. That does not sound restful or
Well, they
refreshing.
serve, they have donuts and coffee out here, so that's that libation thing I think he was talking about.
last year I bought like some hot dogs and buns to give out on the day of cleanup day. Didn't really have a lot of expenses, and I think I took it out of I did take it out of the revolving fund under festivals. But as far as like, I didn't really purchase anything. We already have a ton of bags down in the basement that have piled up over the years, so I didn't have to do anything as far as
Alright, the other
spending.
thing I'm noticing is we have an account, or had, or have, one or the other, for skate park equipment.
Right, I noticed that in something that I saw yesterday in Carlotta's office, but it's not on here, so, and I would have liked to,
Well, then I think that's where we should be
mhm.
reallocating that. If the last four digits is 814, if that's what it's going for.
If that's the repairs and maintenance plan for this year, then yeah.
If your 2,000 is for
Mhm.
all it's at the skate park.
Yeah, I'm
So I
pretty
think
sure.
that should go to the,
So you're changing the
Well,
GL code
yeah.
It would all have to go to the
to
skate,
four
It's
one
eight-
skate
four?
park if you're gonna line
814.
item for that, if you're gonna put it under this
Well, if I get it for less than 2,000, if I get the equipment for less than 2,000, I wouldn't wanna leave money on the table that I
We-
can't spend.
You could
or-
spend it somewhere else.
Okay,
Right, as long as you're within your budget.
that bottom line,
Right.
okay.
And then the Easter egg hunt basketball summer program.
I haven't been doing the summer program, and Easter egg hunt, I take care of out of festivals, and we end up selling raffle tickets and things like that.
Okay. Anything else?
No, good.
Jay?
Well, the adult rec line, I mean, hasn't spent any more than $409 in the last 2 years, so I think 1,500's,
Well, this isn't
maybe a bit much.
it's not 100% accurate right now, because I did just purchase something for pickleball coming up. I need a lot of blue painter's tape, so I bought a case of painter's tape, so I don't think that's reflected on here. That's only like $100, but I am in the works purchasing sand for the volleyball court come next spring, to come out of the adult rec fund, as well as.
But that would have to be
Does-
purchased this year.
Yep. Mhm.
There's no
Okay,
need to
yeah,
purchase
okay,
sand.
Yep, I already have the invoice, and I'm
David,
working
no,
on getting it scheduled.
Don't screen it.
The sand that Peter has,
So you're gonna spend
Yeah.
that.
nothing in it but
stones in it.
sand.
Yeah, you can't have stones in it.
It's not, there isn't stones in it. I mean, unless you're looking at talcum powder, but
Needs to be
Yeah.
beat.
Well,
Mason-
it needs to be,
Mason sand.
it needs to be mason sand. The sand that's down there right now, like, nobody wants to play on it, cause there's rocks in there. It's very painful to play on that sand. And there's a lot of people in town, kids and adults, that really enjoy volleyball and would love to see fresh sand in there.
Are you still doing your evening programs for adult rec?
Yeah, we've started up with basketball so far. That's the only thing that's going right now. But after the new year, we're gonna bring pickleball back, and we're gonna do another basketball night for adults over 35 or 40. Because right now the people going to do adult basketball are like 18 to 25.
There's a few older gentlemen that.
Yeah, there's a few that
yeah,
keep
yeah.
up with them.
older,
They
like
enjoy it.
40.
40, 50, maybe one of them, I think.
Now, is that up
So-
at the basketball?
I'd like to reduce that one.
No, at the middle school.
The middle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was kinda wondering.
Yeah, and then pickleball will
2
take,
years.
pickleball takes place at the elementary school, and we usually have 3 courts set up. It's very fun.
$1,000.
Come join us.
For what?
And they let you put.
You wanna
tape
leave it
or
where it
whatever
is?
on that.
Yep, we take
She's gotta
it,
do
we put the
something.
tape
Well,
down,
I
and then
agree.
we take it up every night.
I think
So
she
we
should
only
spend
do it one
500
night.
in advertising so people know it's out there. They wanna cut your adult budget, and I don't, because I think you need to advertise more to let the people know that it's out there,
Yeah.
somehow. You know these announcements we do every week before the selectmen's meeting?
Mm-hmm,
We all listen to very carefully.
yeah.
There's so many people.
Well,
that would get-
It's the people that watch it on the video. I hear that people are out there watching this. I don't know why, but they do. And I mean, finding
Yeah,
ways
you're
of reaching out.
And I was doing that for a little while, but the adult basketball kind of took off without me
Yeah.
in a way, sort of sense. But I wasn't planning on starting until after the new year, the indoor stuff, but some other people got to jump on me.
And I heard the town has some Facebook page or something like that that might work for some people.
Yep,
Yeah, we,
as soon as I nail down everything in the start date,
Yeah.
which is going to be coming right after the new
So,
year.
so you said you spent about another $100, so that brings you to $425. I'm just, how much more are you gonna be able to encumber or purchase the sand before December 31st?
I already have an invoice and turned it into Roger.
All right, then I have no problem leaving it at 1,500. I'm just saying.
Anything else? Thank
That's
you.
it for now.
You guys all set?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't like, keep saying we're gonna spend it, and it doesn't get spent, so if we're already spending
Well,
it,
my
then I'm
point.
good with it. No, it's like I said, I know that we're gonna use it.
the odd man out before.
Thank you.
Welcome to my life.
So, we're behind schedule here by 20 minutes. We going to the town clerk or cemeteries? What are we doing? We gotta go to
Who's town clerk?
cemeteries.
Town clerk didn't mind going later.
Okay,
Okay,
cemeteries it is.
let's get the
Are
cemetery.
you ready? Okay, they are ready.
Okay, we have a budget?
Do we have a
What
budget for
about the
them?
pool? You wanna do the pool while we're waiting for that?
No, cemeteries
You've got
needs
the
to
pool
go.
right
You got
there.
the pool, it's already, it's,
Any questions?
They don't wanna talk about
We
that.
put the little explanations on there.
Yeah, that's our budget, so you guys look at it and tell us what you think. We're gonna go on to
Yeah.
cemeteries now, right?
yes.
Any
Oh,
questions?
You give us your feedback at another time. I don't wanna be here till 11 o'clock. Neither does Peter, so.
I got home and I cooked dinner and I walked out the door so my
Right.
wife could eat it.
Yeah.
It was
You
in the
could
oven.
take, I mean, cemetery.
Yeah.
would be quick.
Yeah, that's
Let's
what
go
I'm saying.
cemetery.
Do we
Let's
have,
go.
do
What do you got?
we have a budget?
We do.
I handed it out
42,200.
last
Oh, did you?
$200.
Okay.
You have it? You sure?
I gave it out last
Did
week.
we already have it?
Yes.
I don't have anything to compare to last year's numbers
We're taking cemeteries.
Go away again.
There you go.
It won't be real quick, but. It won't be. No, I can't imagine.
Did we refund that money?
That's a different meeting.
I know, but it's a real quick question.
To get an answer?
We
Yeah.
didn't have the library
yes.
letter, it was with the library letter.
For the plots we had sold that we weren't supposed to sell, did we get that money back to those people?
Why not?
Why not?
Because it says that in your letter. Put it on hold. In fact,
I did
not sell any lots.
I don't think we did.
Okay, all
I
right.
did not sell any lots in those areas that we
Yes.
provided an option for the state to use for staging.
So in those blacked out, so the 3 blacked out areas are potentially black, or 2 potentially blacked out areas, we ended up not selling any of those? Because originally you said you were,
Because I thought you were talking about the existing stage sharing area, but you were talking about the options. So I didn't do any of the options. The others are on reserve.
So in summary, the ones in the proposed staging area have not been sold,
Right.
and we have not sold any within the state's
right of way.
right of way, state's property.
The state's right away.
This is a discussion for another meeting. I think we wanna go through the budget. Because I think we're gonna chase the rabbit around the bush here for a half hour, 45 minutes, like
Okay.
we normally do when we have this discussion, and I'd rather not go there. So I'd rather talk about the budget.
But a simple question, I think we can get an answer to, Jay.
Nice try.
Won't we-
Plots.
You have the letter?
Ollie, plots within the state's property have or have not been sold?
That's the ones I did sell. I got them on reserve.
So those are the ones that we were saying should not have been sold to refund the money.
That's not what I said in your letter.
Okay,
be back around 8.
we will address this. Can you schedule Ollie for the cemetery trustees for our next meeting?
I won't be here next Tuesday.
Neither will we. That's why we said for our next meeting, so, which I think.
He was going to fill his
January 8th.
water up.
Yeah. You wanna start with your budget?
Fill it up or empty it out?
Ollie's presenting the budget?
Yeah.
They're just here for moral support, Ollie. Go ahead.
Well, I think it's, I did provide you all a copy. I don't know what else you want me to say.
They have copies.
Quiet, and you're talking about me all the time.
We already finished.
Yeah.
Great, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah. I made a motion, he seconded it, we all agreed.
Good.
There's quite a few increases in here.
Yeah.
Yes, this is based on the discussions we've had. These are the areas that we felt that for this coming year, we needed to do some improvements in the cemeteries. Also, I did get 2 bids for the main item is the mowings and cleanups in the cemeteries. And one was the Anna Proscapes, who has done that function for us for a lot of years, and Gordon Services out of Jaffrey. I believe they do the central common areas, I should say, in town. So you folks should be familiar with them. And Anna Proscapes is gone up to $1,500 a mowing, versus Gordon Services is $1,680 a mowing, and based on 10 mowings. And fall spring cleanup is $6,500 for Anna Proscapes and $8,400 for Gordon Services. So right there, that puts us over what we had for total budget last year.
All right, so in 18, we had a budget of $7,000. You've spent $8,000, and you're saying that the price now is doubled to $15,000?
They went up to $1,500 per mowing.
How many mowings did we do this past year?
We did 7 with 1 because of the snowstorm we didn't get to. But we had, we only were budgeted, I believe, but only for 7 anyways.
What would facilitate doubling the number? That's the question, I guess.
What's that?
What would facilitate doubling the number is the question. You've doubled the mowing line, so,
Doubled the mowing?
Well, almost.
well, okay.
Yeah.
Pretty
No,
close.
Yeah, more than double.
More
yeah.
than double.
Well, he said the price went up for the $1,500 each.
What were we paying last year?
1,000.
So the budget went up by 50%?
Well, let me tell you something. In 2004, when I came on this job, Chris Sassner was the cheapest landscaping, and we paid him $1,500 in 2004.
I believe he's looking at the potential for 10 mowings too.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the cost of a mowing went up by that much.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, I guess my question is, if we budgeted for 7 last year, and now
There was
we're
a lot of
budgeting.
complaints on that.
I understand that, Ollie. Let me get my sentence out. We budgeted for 7. This year we're budgeting for 10. Is that what it needs, is 10 mowings?
I think so.
That's the question I'm asking.
I mean, we had a couple of times last year, within 2 weeks, there are certain weeds, like in the South Cemetery, they pop up 6, 7 inches in a week.
We had a lot of rain last summer. I know.
Oh, I know, it was a very wet, unusual year.
And my other question, because we kind of jumped down, but going in order, is cemetery labor. You've increased it 1,000, but yet you've only paid $90 this year.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Second line.
Second
120.
line, Ollie. You had a budget of $1,000.
Organized
Right.
so much.
You've spent $90,
Right,
and you're asking for 2,000.
right.
May I?
Somebody.
Our rationale behind that, I believe, was there's so much repair that needs to be done at the cemeteries that hasn't been done. I believe it's a $12 an hour fee that the sexton can get if he, and this is for above and beyond work like brush trimming, repairing signs, painting fences. We felt as though the repairs that really need to be done, you could burn that up pretty quick.
But
Rather than putting these things out to bid, do it in-house rather than putting them out to bid.
But my only point is, it hasn't been
Before my-
done.
Before my time, so I don't know that, I can't answer.
Well, I mean, we had 2018, we could have been doing it.
This year, if we had, not the snow so early, we would have spent $17,000. We would have spent the whole budget.
Because you didn't get your fall cleanup this year either.
But the year before, we didn't spend $1,000 either.
Oh, we're back on two different subjects
No,
now.
I'm on that same line item, cemetery labor. It was $322 in 2017, $90 in 2018. But now for 2019, the request has gone up 1,000 to 2,000. I don't mind investing in the cemeteries. I just want to know that the money's going to get used. And the track record isn't happening.
Well, I think I'm at liberty to say that Ollie has mentioned on a few occasions that he doesn't want to be sexton forever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been some talk of a replacement.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the replacement is kind of anxious to attack some of these things that need to be addressed.
Okay?
Okay.
Applies. And again, we have no backup with this. Can you just highlight what the supplies and, it's on the next page?
It's on the back.
I gave you the notes section.
It was on the back. It's in the notes. Page 2 of 2. You know, you're missing your second page somewhere.
Oh, it didn't double print or something?
Thank you.
In fact, this cemetery labor line is quite a bit of stuff there.
There is. And I look at it and I say, and you only spent $90.
We didn't do that. That's what this is, the coming budget year.
Yes, Ollie, I understand that. It's the coming budget year. But in this year's budget, you said the same thing. You asked for $1,000 and we only used $90. That's the only thing that, I just want to make sure that if we're approving the budgets, that you've got a plan in place to make it work. That's all I'm asking.
Well,
So again, I guess I'm gonna throw this out there. We're looking
that's
at,
our plan.
right. Okay, I'm gonna look, we just brought it up to Nicole, we brought it up to everybody else. Cemetery supplies, we've already, so cemetery supplies, you know, we didn't spend money on some of the other pieces, we've got some money in the budget. Why don't we go out this week and buy a pump and buy rakes and shovels and get it all, get as much of those things we can this year, so that we're not raising the budget by $750 on something that we've got some money left over. We've got 11 days or so to go to Beltate's, buy what you need, get it on this year's budget, take it off in next year's budget, so we're not taxing again for stuff that we didn't spend.
Is that something you guys can do? Can you spend that $250 by the end of the year? Or if you don't need all of it, don't spend all of it, but you could buy rakes, shovels, shovel handles, you could buy bar oil, paintbrushes, whatever you would need to buy.
Yeah, they could.
Fuel and
It'll
oil.
be close.
Excuse me?
Fuel and oil.
Well, you'll be close because keep in mind that you went over on the mowing. What you didn't spend on the labor almost offsets
But
what
they've
you
got-
went over.
We got $2,200 left in cleanup. Didn't even touch.
Page
Right here. They had 4,000. They spent
Okay.
1,800.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's he got left in there? By your calculations?
I didn't
I
calculate
didn't
it.
calculate it, but they were 1,000 over in one
See the
section and
reason why we don't
2,200
have the
under
BMS
in another.
sheet?
It'd be nice to know, because then if they can buy a chainsaw this year, then you can take $800 out of the supply line for
Right.
next year.
Right.
Because if they've got $1,200.
Yeah, that would help, because we're trying to look at totals and what they have left over.
Right, just bottom line of your budget.
Yeah.
This is what you present to us for a budget?
Okay.
Good Lord, I thought we were stealing from someone.
No. But yeah, the cleanup line, you've got $4,000 and you only spent 1,800, so you do some math. Oh, I thought you were doing math, I'm sorry.
She went to go get the BLS.
All right.
Oh, she-
Yeah, it says we got $5,300 remaining.
But we gotta pay you for the quarter. Your
Well-
stipend comes out of that, correct?
Right. But I mean, there's quite a bit there.
Right.
Because
So-
the mowing, the
It's
cleanup
already
this
paid,
year
no.
would have been $4,500, because we
Right.
would have had a mowing at
Right.
the end.
He's got it.
He's only got $865 left under the stipend. line.
Oh, okay, so that, see, I don't have that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
don't
don't
But
have-
either.
that's not on this, this is just one of the
She
roll-up
went to get the
year-to-date.
BMSI one, yeah. Because
I
these
happen
here
to
have no
one
totals.
from the end of October.
Well, you're following what we're telling you, right, Ollie?
What's this?
You're following what we're telling you?
Yeah.
You have money in your budget, so instead of inflating your next year's supply line, spend money that you have left in your budget to buy some of those items that you're budgeted for next year. You got 11 days to buy a chainsaw, some rakes, shovels, paintbrushes.
I don't think there's a chainsaw on the list.
I believe there is.
No, or a chain bar.
Oh, yeah, you can buy the pump. There isn't a chainsaw, I'm sorry, it's bar and chain oil. But, yeah, you could buy a pump.
All right.
Just, we gotta see what your bottom, where you're at.
I was not aware that we could draw money from other accounts.
Yeah.
As long as you don't exceed the bottom line.
Right, yeah.
Maybe we should have said that, huh?
Not at the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
at the end of the year.
Oh, good.
I'm not-
Yeah, I don't think, yeah, we should have told him that.
Yeah.
You know, it's kinda,
Yeah.
known Johnson a long time.
Who you talking to here? Cheapskate.
Yeah. Gary's over there. I'm not paying FICA. I'm getting something else.
But you cannot hold that money over, am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah. If it
Correct.
hasn't been spent, it rolls in to the general and
So you need the invoice to be dated 18.
You don't have to-
before.
Even if you spend it on, pay it on January 10th, the invoice is
Correct.
going to be 18.
Yes.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's why we said, I forgot if somebody we told last week, go on Amazon, hit print invoice, you've got it, you know? It doesn't matter if it doesn't show up till February, if it says that it was paid for in 18, or you have to at least encumber it, which means there has to be a contract, right? Yeah, yeah. If you have like an invoice that says you're gonna purchase and you're good, and that's your PO or whatever, as long as it's 18, you're good to go.
Well, while we're waiting for that, can we move down?
Yep.
And again, the repair line, I'm gonna assume that's because, somebody else might be doing some repairs.
It's got a list of things on the back. Under repairs.
Yeah.
And I see you've added a line in here for cemetery fuel and mileage.
This is what they wanna do this next year.
What is that for?
You talking fuel and mileage?
The last line item appears to be a new line that we have not budgeted for in the past.
Well, it disappeared, but, I don't know how you wanna do it. I drive my own, I had to buy my own dump truck, and fuel and mileage. I guess I could put it under supplies.
You don't use a town vehicle?
No. We had a perfectly good truck that, too bad we could have got that, but we didn't. And I was tired of trying to pull stuff out of my pickup truck, so I went and bought my own dump truck.
That was the budget.
Hmm.
17,700.
Guys, should we be looking at ways of getting equipment for the cemetery versus having somebody use their personal vehicle?
Peter and I have talked about this, and he didn't have any issues with somebody using the 1 ton of, the highway department isn't using it. I think that's been mentioned all in
Yeah,
the
I think
past.
that was already said at another meeting.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I do. So you
Yeah.
get $4,900, from last year's budget, unless I missed something. No, I'm sorry, no, that's not right.
Yep, 4903.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, there it is. So, if you needed to buy a pump, you could go buy a pump this year to get a good,
Why doesn't
Um,
this print out all that?
mud suck. That's what you're talking about, right, as far as the
Right.
pump?
To pump out the graves.
Right,
Oh,
You got-
okay, I just
What'd you
changed
pay for the one you
all
bought?
of these numbers to update
so
them.
long ago.
And I.
Probably $2,500 for a
row,
girl.
so
That's
I
the
will
way we
remove
need
that.
So you got that, you can buy that this year.
So
All right,
this year's
So
budget
those
was
things that-
17,709. That's what
This, 18, I got 17,709.
Yeah.
Right, got that.
And we
Excuse me?
spent
Are there any
12,806.
parameters as to where you can purchase these things? I heard the word.
Well, it'd be nice if you get a couple of prices from a couple different places. But, no, I mean, Peter, who do you deal with? You-
Well, you can get it through Reliable or
Right, any of them guys.
any.
Chapel, yeah,
Chapel,
right, if you can get a decent price out of them, whoever gives you the best deal,
What's this for?
to buy a pump.
We
Trash
don't need
pump.
anything as extensive as what the highway department has.
Is there a reason why we
That's a
can't use the
pump.
highways pump?
That has to be loaded and unloaded with a forklift, and
Yeah, it's much
it's a
bigger.
3-inch pump, and it's just way too fast.
It's a trash pump. They need the mud sucker, diaphragm pump.
Different pumps. So,
Nice fire truck we can sell.
yeah, right,
I actually, no, we're gonna use that. What were we gonna use that for last week? Oh, that's the new command vehicle for the fire chief. She's gonna drive that around.
Can I charge him rent?
How are they at 42,250? I got my columns in the wrong thing. Where's your sheet just now? Okay, this year's budget, 17,709. That's 2018's budget,
Yes,
and our,
actual right now.
okay, I got that in the wrong column.
So the first line is 5,000 for the sexton, that's a stipend, right?
Yeah.
correct.
So why does that vary? Why isn't it just the same? Last year's actual was 54, this year's actual is 34. 5,000 is 5,000.
Well, the 34. That's not right now. It's at 4519.
The 54 is, my labor being outside the normal things,
Okay,
the
all
section.
right, yep, all right.
That should actually be in line number 2.
That's
but-
actually what I've got.
Probably,
The number.
right, yeah.
Hang on, I've got 'em.
Right.
I just keep screwing this thing
Right.
up.
That was down. So you guys have come down with a good bottom line of surplus money for them to use,
$4,900.
and then
You got 11 days.
You go that way, I'll go that way.
Doesn't have to be delivered, just has to be brought.
just,
I mean, you've got, in your next line, the repair line for stuff, you could probably buy some, fence posts, you know, they don't go bad, or, corner markers.
Just you're gonna get this.
There's no
one
shelf
in.
life to them,
Hang on
so.
one second, just,
I'm just $1,500.
Their numbers
I'm just trying to get things to line up.
are,
Treat.
That's all right.
No.
So they're over $500. Oh, that's
yeah,
proposed budget.
proposes is, their actual proposed is $42,709,
Not 250?
not 42,
And it was
250.
17 and change last year?
What was it, John? What was it, John, the second?
42,709 is their actual
I
proposed.
don't include the FICA because that comes out of my pay. I think it's double, it's put into the budget, for, I guess, for, clarification of some sort.
Your
because,
portion comes out of your
but it
pay,
comes
but
out
the
of
town pays their
5,000.
portion.
Split pay.
Yeah, the town still
When I
has,
get 5,000, those two things are already paid.
And not.
your part,
Your
the
part
town
is
still has to
paid.
pay another piece of it. We have to pay,
That's the same thing with
Employer pays a
Medicare too?
portion.
yeah, we
Yes.
pay an employer portion.
So we didn't find $4,900. Oh, we did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So, we found $4,900.
What was the 17 budget?
17,709.
We can't move any of that forward to the moment.
That's 18, right?
Excuse me?
Yeah,
We can't
okay.
move any of that forward to.
For some reason, I got 17 at 22,209.
Let me see.
Well, what I'm looking at, Gary, is that the supply line and repair line on next year's budget realistically could go away if you've got $4,900 left in this year's budget. Because if you bought your fence posts and all that sort of stuff, yeah, I'm sure you must have an idea of what you're going to make for signs or railings and the fence and all that stuff. You can buy your lumber
459
now.
we had for their budget
You know what I mean? You must,
total.
you guys must have had some sort of plan, because you came up with a number, so.
42,459.
Or we have planned.
And then that's what I had for 17.
You're gonna wanna come up with one in 11 days.
So you're gonna take 1,000 out of 6.
Well, that's what I'm talking, these guys are discussing other numbers over here, so.
Yeah, I got 42,459.
42,451?
42,459 without any adjustments.
Hold
5,000, 2,000, 372, 87, 1,000, 1,500, 15,000, 4,000, 2,000, 5,000, 6,500, and 250.
Yeah, I checked it twice.
313 to 24. No, I'm missing one. Hang on.
You're right, but I don't hear it.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry, Jay, we were trying to figure out.
I'll let
his
you know.
budget.
When I
get something.
42709.
Yes,
Guys
Yes.
have their own meeting over here and then clue me in once in a while.
Well,
we were trying to go
you
back.
want to handle this
No,
here?
no,
And I'll,
You're
gladly.
talking, you're talking, that's all.
All right,
just
so-
trying to get the
so-
numbers there.
Yeah, so you wanna take out,
So you got 42,459 is here.
Okay, this year's budget request,
Yep,
42709.
42709.
Yeah.
okay, now what part were you trying to,
Well, I was,
of the 40,
well,
say
we got
900?
$4,900. You could
Mhm.
eliminate the supply line and repair line out of this year's budget.
Brush cutting's not part of mowing?
Yep, take out 2,500 right there.
Right, because
That's generally done by the.
Gary, they've got an idea of what they wanna buy for fencing, so they go out buy their fence posts, rails, whatever, paintbrushes, rakes, shovels, pump. They can buy all that stuff.
Yeah, no, my other thing is, tune up for a mower.
Okay, so you leave $12 in there.
Well, I don't know, well, I don't know if it's like one of those
Oh, he's only taking 25.
zero, yeah.
I'm gonna say, what did you say he has for allowable funds to expend?
4,900.
It can't be, because we're still gonna have to pay him the balance of the stipend,
Okay.
which is roughly,
400,
$480.
okay.
So then, once you take the FICA and all of those other things, let's just play it safe and say $600. I think he's got $4,300 to spend
Okay,
out of this year's budget.
I had only spent 2,500, so we were safe.
Yeah.
But that stipend line's messed up.
No, it's not.
He's got hourly
Money and
dollars
stipend, yeah,
in stipend, which should be in labor.
right,
Mm-hmm.
going
So
back,
the
That was
5,000
that was
is
prior
not-
year.
Yeah, then that shouldn't happen.
I
no,
agree.
shouldn't,
It
shouldn't,
Right, that shouldn't
but
happen.
Right, but
How else do you get an odd number like that?
right.
Right, but that
Stipends
was-
aren't paid out that way.
yeah, that was 2 years ago. We can't fix that now.
You can't?
We can fix it. No, we can
Are
fix
you
it
looking
going
at
forward, though.
18 or 17?
He was looking at
Look at any
17.
one of them.
Right, no, I understand Mark's point.
Actual, this
Either
year's
one.
got 4519 from the sheet.
Right,
Right.
but, and I'm presuming when I see
You gotta-
4519,
$500.
that's all stipend, I owe him 5,000, so I need to pay him the rest.
Then he got nothing for hours.
Correct, so did you do work the town pays you hourly for that's not part of the stipend?
Mhm.
According to this, $90 worth.
Right, on the second
More
line.
than
No,
$90?
I'm not on that line.
Well, it should be.
Well, what line are you on?
They put me on the Sexton line.
No, the sexton is a stipend. That's all you get out of that line item.
Well, I don't think Ollie's arguing that point, that's not him, that would be
That's not him.
somebody that's doing the accounting that's messed up.
We'll look at it. We'll look at it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, so, yeah,
Right, it's,
anything above and beyond that
it's
stipend.
an hourly wage, it comes out of labor line.
Yes, yeah.
Like I
Absolutely.
said,
Right,
Right, but like I said, we can't fix 2 years ago, but we can, as we already had the
well, I'm
conversation.
saying, I'm questioning what he's got left. Is-
right, he's questioning
Because that
this
ain't
year.
right.
Well, it's still gonna be the same amount, it's just in the wrong line. What do you mean?
He
If-
should get 5,000 for a sexton.
Right.
Period.
Exactly,
And whatever he earned at an
Exact-
hourly rate.
exactly,
The two of
so,
them combined should not equal $5,000.
no, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is that whatever is wrong in Sexton is just gonna move down to labor, it won't
That's
change.
true.
It won't change the amount that we've spent.
Right, the only thing
Okay.
that I'm concerned about, that I wanna make sure is that we don't give them
It
a,
changes the amount he gets. Oh, you're right. If he hasn't got, has he gotten his stipend or not for this year?
Oh, it's a weekly thing.
Then he's short.
no, it's not,
It's still gonna be
Actually,
about
It's
$600.
my understanding that Holly gets paid his stipend weekly. Is that
See, I
correct?
thought we corrected this 2 years ago, you and I, we had this discussion with Tim,
we
you and I
did,
and Tim.
yes.
Okay.
We said everybody gets a
Roger
stipend quarterly.
Has a schedule.
Well, it's
and
gonna get a
there
new one.
Are
but
some
no,
people
it's-
who get
right.
once a year, some people get it 4 times a year,
No.
some people get it.
No,
Okay.
Everybody's
What-
supposed to get it quarterly,
This-
other than the firefighters.
so David, why do we decide things?
I don't know.
Maybe we just,
Somehow that message didn't get to Roger.
well, it was in writing.
So
Okay.
Goodness.
if we
Okay.
wanna start fresh in 2019,
Yes, we do,
doing it
yeah.
quarterly
Yeah, we
for
start with-
everyone,
Started this in 2018, but
Thanks a lot.
that's not what I
Good
found.
thing we went with the short ones first.
I think Roger, we need to have a meeting with Roger.
yes, that would be good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's too many things that are just not.
He's gonna wanna get paid for that. If it's not during regular hour, I'm telling you right now.
I'll bet you're right.
Stop paying
All right.
Roger weekly.
So,
Pay him quarterly.
Meanwhile, I'm back at the ranch.
Can we go through this year's requested budget items to determine what we can reduce it by buying with this year's funds?
Alright, just throwing,
Yeah.
from this number, based on this day,
Yeah.
again, we've got about $3,100 to spend. It's just round figures. We got about 3,100. So we could still take out those 2 line items. We could take $2,500 out of the budget. Easily.
Supplies and repairs.
Mhm.
So, can we just reduce both of those to 0?
Yes.
You guys on board with that?
So is that gonna
Mr.
count
Crook,
for
you are
anything
awfully
like
quiet back
next
there.
year? There could be no money to repair it. We'll have to wait a year.
Yes, sir.
no.
because the electrical's gotta be repaired, there's no, fix the electrical part down there. And you can't do that now, because the ground's frozen.
Actually, no, actually, kind of.
So if you zero that, that means you're gonna do no repairs
Yeah.
next year in any of the cemeteries,
Put a dollar in there.
unless you, suck it out of another line.
He doesn't have electrical repair on
Yeah, he does.
here. Yes.
Yeah.
6:30.
Oh, okay.
The electrical line for the podium.
Oh.
What are you saying that, are you able to purchase $2,500 worth of 2019 budgeted items this year?
I don't know what a pump would be, but that's, I'm gonna take a shot at a maximum of $500, something
Yeah.
decent. I personally don't know what he needs as far as hand tools, but that's something that we can.
Your biggest expense, you're figuring at $500.
Yeah.
So
You've got room to buy,
here's my question: what is entailed in monument repair?
that's,
That's where we're gonna hit that.
well, can we-
That's for
Well,
yourself.
what I'm asking is, if we say, okay, we want to leave money in there for the electrical, so if we took 1,000, like brought the supplies down to 1,000, repairs down to 500, and took another 1,000 out of monument repair, that you could buy. Like I said, I don't know. Is that you guys need to buy a special masonry or what?
That's a subcontractor thing.
Medlin
Somebody
Monument-
comes in
Medlin
to
Monument
repair.
comes in and repairs older stones or whatever might be broken. But it's a matter of calling them to do it, and you'll see it hasn't been done for the last couple of years, so. And that's why the budget, that line was reduced to $2,000, because it's always been $3,000 and $1,500 was being spent, so.
So all I'm saying is where we could leave $500 or X amount that you need for
We'll
the
leave
electrical.
$500 in the repair line.
Okay.
But we're then taking $2,000 out to tell him to go and buy it now,
Mhm.
but he doesn't have $2,000 worth of goods to buy. It's either subcontracted for monument repairs, or it's in mowing, or in brush cutting.
Right.
So maybe he's got $1,500. By the time he buys a pump and goes out and buys shovels and
I don't know, I would think $500 is,
You just told them to spend the money on what they wanted to spend. You're
Right,
looking at the
right.
bottom line, so why can't they just spend, if they need something out of one of these lines next year, they just spend that?
and that's what we're saying, is that if we take $2,500 from this year's budget, okay? You have $2,500. But for next year, he doesn't have $2,500 worth of things he wants to go out and buy. He has services that he wants to hire to do that work, but not the material. The only thing he's saying he needs is incidental tools and a pump. So if we take
Talking about
2,000,
buying railings and that,
So-
those railings.
No, what if we
Do you
took
guys have any
500
idea how many
out of the hourly
lineal
labor
feet
line?
of fence you were talking about buying?
The fence.
So
pretty much
take
is
1,000,
that,
1,000,
fence
and
on the right-hand
500,
side as
that'd be
you drive into the
2,500.
South, Center Cemetery, I believe, Ollie, is that the fence you're speaking of?
it's not like he's able to use
Yeah,
it,
but
right?
the railings on the bridge, the
He's
tree
not, but I
came
don't
down,
think they're gonna
broke the
do
railing.
I don't believe.
But what
there's
you're
any-
saying is
other
to
than
reduce
paint,
the
I
budget.
think that's all you need.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to reduce the
And
budget
then-
by.
And you want to,
We
want to repair
I
the
thought we
kiosk.
early,
Oh,
get
and we
more
were, but like you
granite
said,
posts for the ones that
it's
have
not
been
there,
broken.
or you'd be zeroing out a
You-
line, and we
you
need
know,
something in there, because you can't
get
do the
those.
electrical
Yeah.
if you have no money in the line.
Right. I mean, they
Can't
got,
just
So
make
I-
it
what
from
I'm s-
another line, is
well,
what
that's what I'm saying.
That's what
I-
you just told him to go spend the money on whatever he
Right.
needs.
Right, so what I'm saying is, but we need to, right now, we need to agree on where we're taking it off of this piece of paper. That's all I'm trying to figure out. So I'm saying take 1,000 out of supplies, 1,000 out of repairs, and 500 out of labor. And then they go spend money this year, and then they can shift it as they need next year.
Okay, so you just took $2,500.
Yes.
What they're all telling us, they don't have $2,500 worth of materials to buy right now.
that's why I just asked them about the fence, and there's some fence posts, some railings,
Mhm.
And the pump,
that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Right, and that's what I'm looking at is I mean, we have $1,000 in supplies that they say they need. And we have $1,500 in repairs, but only one of those.
Okay, look at supplies. They need a pump, a tune-up for the mower,
Right.
rake, shovels, handles, fuel, saw, paintbrushes, etc.
Right, but then I'm looking at cemetery repairs. Evidently, we need to buy signs or buy things so we can fix the signs in cemetery
We
repairs.
should replace some signs, I can understand that.
But you're not gonna have that within a week.
No.
But you can encumber it, right?
No, not unless you have a invoice or a contract, of which we don't have either, and wouldn't in a week then.
Okay.
That first, the supply line, just to back up.
Yeah.
that Supply line, if you look at all of that stuff, if there's an expense of $800 there, figuring
It's
he's
high.
paying 500 for a pump,
Yeah.
I'm high.
Yeah,
Right, so,
Right. But here we need center cemetery, they need railings and front fence,
right,
they need corner markers. Kiosks, I mean,
but like corner markers, unless you're hiring a surveyor, corner markers aren't going in.
but don't we have, or do they are,
You
We're
have,
replacing the ones that are there.
Can't we purchase them and replace them next year? Or no?
let's slow down.
yes.
that's a,
Corner markers are for what? Corner of your plots you are selling?
Or the islands on the mulch.
Okay, you're not talking the bounds of the property?
No,
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 Okay.
that's stone walls.
no, just talking the granite, 6, 8 inch, maybe a foot
Yeah,
long, 4 by
okay.
4 granite posts.
So, how much out of this budget couldn't you expend before the end of the year? As Jace pointed out, under supplies, I don't think you have
I think $800 is high.
maybe $800 and you've got a budget request of 1,000. So, out of that,
If you take it out of the 31, it leaves you with 2,300 bucks.
what's 31? Oh,
So that's left over from this year's budget at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah.
So that buys everything in your supply line. And then if you,
Can we reduce the supply line down to like $200,
100.
whatever?
$100 for the supply line?
right,
For
And
next
that's not
year?
even gonna
Right.
get you a couple of cans of paint.
because you're gonna spend
Come on, be realistic.
$800 of your $3,100 this year only. You got $3,100, you're in the up right now in your
I
budget.
assure you, I don't wanna leave.
So if you spend $800 this
I don't
year
wanna sit like this.
on supplies
I
that you
agree
need
with
for
you.
next
I
year,
agree with you.
you don't need that
It's
supply
getting
line
very
next year.
frustrating.
Mhm.
You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
And I've only been
It's only
sitting
been 10 years.
I know. All right, $200.
I was gonna agree with you at 100, but,
Well,
Supplies is 200?
200.
You'll
so,
buy what you need and can with this year's budget for the supply line item.
right. Now, if you go to the repair line, you can do the same thing on that, because you have an idea of what you need for fence posts, what you need for railings,
Corner markers.
corner markers. Ollie, what'd you pay for that pallet of corner markers that you bought for the, Merrill?
I don't know, long time. Oh, I wanna say 300-400,
That's what I was thinking, you paid $400.
yeah.
What,
So if you take,
kiosk?
take $400 out of that,
Kiosk?
So if we went to someplace like Fletcher's and had it invoiced immediately, even if they didn't deliver
I think that was
right
that
Right.
sign that they had
Yeah.
up there that fell over.
now, how much fence you talking about
Can't show
replacing?
where
It
the
says
grades
center
are.
cemetery railings and front fence. Or is that just painting the front fence?
Yeah, painting, front fence, repairing the bridge fence.
But you need to buy lumber for the bridge fence.
Yes.
Okay, so that can come out of
Yeah,
this,
4x4s.
how many you need? 8, 10 of them?
No, probably just a couple,
Well, 2 rods, so the
Two.
others can't be too far behind.
yeah. Yeah.
To
Yeah.
replace them. There's 6 of them?
Okay,
What are they a piece?
$20.
It's $120. So we've spent $620 out of that line so far. Cemetery signs, that's something you're buying or something that you're gonna build?
I believe those would probably have to come from the sign maker, because they're painted.
Rough idea what signs cost, Pete? Size?
You won't get it for this kind of money.
And we had hoped,
Yeah,
we
this
had
year.
hoped to stay in town for that too, if we could.
Well, there's no way you're buying a sign for,
Well, you still
even
got,
if you used all that money.
you've still got, $1,800 roughly.
Well, the sign we're looking at, they're only being, like, the ones we drive in, Pauline, they're 2 feet by a foot.
What's this?
The signs you're thinking of are just like the ones as you're entering into the
Right.
center cemetery.
Yeah.
So I don't think
Oh.
you're gonna be.
What are
All
these
three
signs for?
cemeteries.
Couple $100. The ones that say Center Cemetery, open dawn to dusk, that sort of thing. The ones that are by the gate.
People are dying to get here.
So,
Move next door, the neighbors are crying.
so we've taken 620 out of that line by buying the granite posts and the granite rails.
Okay, so make that $750 on repairs.
I'm agreeable to that.
All right. Okay.
How you doing, Eric?
Monument repair line. The mowing is the mowing. There's really
Yeah.
no whole lot you can do with that.
No. There's really not too much.
Well, you can, because I've never seen more than $1,500 spent in a year. That's why when I see it at $4,000, I'm going,
Are we sure that
I
this
will-
is
I
gonna
will-
get spent in full?
I would like to repeat myself. We had to make changes because with $17,000, I couldn't pay for the fall cleanup and the last mowing. So we knew that very early on, that we had to come up with something so we wouldn't go over the budget, because my understanding, and I think the trustees felt the same way, we're not supposed to go over the budget.
You're right,
not.
you can't. And you didn't.
You didn't.
You had a budget of 17,709 and you've spent 12,806. By the time the end of the year comes,
You'll
you
be-
would, if you weren't buying things
You'll be at
for
about
next year, you would have been somewhere around,
14,000.
yeah.
so you would have been
13.
$3,000 under budget anyway, Ollie, even if you had done everything you'd wanted to do last year.
You say so.
I just want to be assured that these things, somebody is planning, making the arrangements with subcontractors or vendors or whatever to make sure this work happens.
I can start on it probably next Wednesday.
Good.
Uh,
Well, it's coming. Don't go down
Okay. All right.
We'll piecemeal it out to all the trustees.
So we've almost tripled that, but 2.5 times the budget.
Is the brush cutting something that's like never been done? Brush cutting? That's never, hasn't been done in a couple of years?
Oh, yes, we've had a lot of brush cutting over the years. But the peripheral of the cemeteries is crossing into the roadway. For instance, if you go in Center Cemetery, the far side, if you try to drive down it, you'll be rubbing against the brush all the way down.
See, the issue with brush cutting is it comes back. If we're gonna cut it, we ought to stump it as well. Get somebody in there with a mini excavator and pull them right out, roots and all, and then you won't have to.
Well, it'll be more than 5,000 because.
Well, it's a start. Use that $5,000 to do that, because I just, to cut brush is a waste of money. Because it grows back so fast that you'll just keep throwing $5,000 at it and it'll keep coming back. If you pull the little trees out that are creating the brush, then they're not coming back, not for a while anyway. So I'd rather see that money spent on doing something like that than just cutting brush.
Well, the machine that Gordon is telling me about, I think that's probably something that does that. That's why it's $1,500 a day.
Who's doing this work?
I got a bid from Gordon Services,
To do the brush cutting.
right? And they got some type of machine that takes everything out.
Good?
But I'll double check because it said it gave me a quote of $1,500 a day.
timeframe for him too, because it's only one day, well, that's not quite so painful.
Yeah, but he was thinking, because when he walked it, it probably may take him up 3 days to do it.
So the number works. $1,500 a day, you can do the whole cemetery in 3 days, you get $500 left over. We've dropped that line down.
You know, we got all kinds of brush around the monuments and stuff like that.
We sure do. It's a mess over there, Raleigh,
Yeah.
from neglect.
There's one that's buried in the woods that actually ironically has a sign on it, a little plaque that says perpetual care. Can't even find it, it's buried. And it's a large monument.
Means it needs.
So you're gonna leave that repair line? I mean, that monument repair at 4?
I know absolutely
I
nothing
do.
about it, so. I mean,
I know about it, but it's just never been used.
right. Oh, I agree, but, I mean, I'd like to see us cut wherever we can at this point. I mean, we've taken this budget 2.3 times, 2 1/3 times from what it was last year. No, I know a lot of that is the mowing, because we've increased the mowing by 2 or by 3 times, and it's half again in price, but I just don't wanna see us even propose this and then it not get spent or done, or spend it on something else after we've said we're gonna do it.
Right.
Suppose if you picked a number, we could just have another monument, here's how much we have, go as far as you can.
That's what's happened in the past, but, well, that's not what's happened in the past, but that's what's been budgeted for in the past. And the number was 3,000, but they'd only do 1,500.
What do you recommend, Jay? You've dealt with it more than.
Yeah, I mean, I'd, $3,000 I think is
Right.
fair.
I'm good with that, 3,000
What's that?
for a monument repair, just drop it 1,000.
And the only reason I say it is because I've never seen it, $3,000 worth of work done, it's always stopped at 15.
But is it gonna happen?
Well, that's what I don't know, looking at traffic.
I've got
So-
the cemetery trustees here. Are you guys telling us it's gonna happen, or is it not gonna happen? Cause next year, when you come back, if we have it in there and it doesn't happen, I'll tell you now, I'm going with the zeros.
I don't see why it would not happen. If that's any value. I mean, the money's there, it's a simple phone call and walk around one day and. That work for you all?
Absolutely. The failure here is to understand, when you only had $17,000 to do everything, we didn't have the money. So we stopped
Ollie,
cutting out a lot of things because the end of the year, it was gonna come out being $17,000.
Is there any other place we have that we can cut?
And just to give you an idea, Jay, I know one monument that went down in Center Cemetery, and that cost us $1,500 just for that one monument.
Ollie,
I know, I can show you, I will show you $3,000 bills.
I sat on the cemetery trustee board for 10 years, and you told us $3,000, and you never spent more than $1,500. So, if you wanna go tit for tat, I'm good to go, but don't tell me that your budget was cut and that's why you didn't do it. You didn't do it because you didn't do it, that's all. So,
Gary, do we need 10 cuttings?
Excuse me?
Do we need 10 cuttings?
Ollie would know about that better than I know if this is.
We can do it with
first go
7
around.
or 8,
I-
but don't worry about what the cemetery looks like.
It was 7 last year?
I think that's all we had was 7.
And people called and complained.
Oh, I get that, but I'm just trying to say, I mean,
That's a
Right.
difficult one, because it was very dry early on this year, so it didn't really require it. There is one thing though, whatever you decide or we decide, I think we have an obligation to the contractor to say, if we're gonna do 7, 8, 9, whatever, we need to stick with that. because then that individual has planned on his manpower, his hours, is on 7, 8, 9, whatever moments, I think, for the season. Yes, things can happen, like we had an early snow this year, well, no, the last one didn't get done, the fall cleanup didn't get done, so, you know, there's certain things we can't.
But I don't think we should be guaranteeing it to them, if that's what you're saying.
No, I don't think guarantee would be the word, but try and uphold what we've asked for.
Mm-hmm.
Within reason, as I say, if it snows early, no, we can't have them come in and mow 4 inches of snow. Or if we just have a dry year and it doesn't need it, then.
Don't come and just
I would
run the
assume-
mows
yeah, I
over.
would assume we could talk to the company and go, listen, hey, you know, do you really think we need this?
All right, since we're looking to try and save some money and still have the cemeteries look nice, how about if we put off the tree removal? We haven't used that in the past. If we keep the brush back and we keep the lawns mowed and we fix the monuments, can we hold off on cutting back trees?
Here again, that's Ollie, but I believe some of the trees, not all, some of the trees can be cut by ourselves. They don't pose they don't present a danger to power lines or monuments or anything like that. Yeah, yeah,
Zero that line, David?
That's what I'm thinking.
Good.
yeah, there's a guy with the.
What do we do with the monument repair line? Did we?
3,000.
Move to 3.
3,000.
David?
4.
I say 3,000.
We're at 3.
I want to see it get done, and then, well, and then, I'm not gonna go from 0 to 4,000 and hope.
Oh, yeah, did you zero out the trees?
You just told me that.
Did I just hear earlier that you need to leave $1 or something in there, so it doesn't?
That's,
It'll be there.
but again, that's March.
Oh, to use the line, yeah.
That's what?
That happened in March.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but they're not gonna come in before
Mind you, I
March
just learned
anyway.
that.
I still want.
What are we going for?
I have no relatives in these cemeteries, so I'm just trying to make it look nice, because I think it's.
I want it to look nice too, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Gary had a good point, we gotta leave something in the tree line. If you want to move something in the tree line, we can.
Dollar?
All
Dollar?
right,
Dollar.
Don't overspend.
That rounds it up to 38,160, nice and even.
Would we cut the mowing, the mowing?
Mowing, we didn't talk
We
about.
did.
The mowing.
We left the
did
mowing,
that.
took the trees out.
10 mowings?
Yeah, because if you took out 8, if you went to 8 mowings, you're still at $12,000. So,
I suppose you go to 9.
Well, if we did use all that.
You wanna go to
we could
9?
take a tree
Go to
out.
9.
all right,
We did 7 this year.
so
If we go to 9,
13.5.
True story, because if you don't use it all, you can, now that I've learned this tonight, we can take a tree out with some of that.
13.5.
Yeah.
13.5. Taking out 1 mowing, going to 9 mowings.
because this year all he said was 7. Jessica said she heard some complaints, so if we get another 2 cuttings in, everybody should be happy. And it's at least a starting point. If we find out that, hey, we should have gone with 10, give us some feedback next year.
Oh, we'll get feedback.
I meant from
It's
them.
gonna be all our fault, you know that.
We actually had one
The
selectman,
residents don't say a word.
there was one selectman that was complaining about the mowing going on.
Brush cutting, you gonna leave where it is?
Yes.
Clean up,
Yeah, that's all. It's what the
leave it where it is? Oh,
Brush
that's it.
cutting
that's what the
was
quote is.
by, you got a quote on, what drove the cleanup number?
quote as well. Spring and fall cleanup, $6,500.
Spring and fall.
That, they separated it. I asked them to give me each, spring and the fall. And, yeah, it was shocker that they come up this much, but,
And you've gone out to only the 2 sources for pricing?
pricing?
Pricing. So
Pricing.
you went with Gordon and,
Yeah.
and
Anapro.
Anapro and Gordon. Okay. 36,660.
I
Yeah.
believe there was also someone Ollie, correct me, is there someone that wasn't even really interested in it? Could be another conversation we had, I don't know.
Leave that at 65.
As far as the.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're at
No, I-
36,
36,
660.
660.
I haven't had
I'm sorry.
anybody that
36,
wanted to bid on it.
660.
Yeah.
Can I have the whole
Did you
punch,
move the
please?
fuel mileage to somewhere else?
No,
No.
But the line doesn't exist
does now.
in forever.
Neither did brush cutting. That's the one that kept throwing me off.
660, right, that's what line number.
On last year's
It wasn't in
sheet,
last
it wasn't in there, yeah.
So
All
when
set?
you do
All
brush
set.
cutting, do you, increase
You
all
guys
the
have
rows
a
and
tough
things?
bunch.
What's this?
I said, when you do brush cutting, do you trim any of the tree branches that grow across the road, so I can't
That's-
get it?
That's another,
Just not having my
place for
son-
brush cutting, yeah.
Okay. Can't get my truck
Yeah.
out.
Let's come up with a budget number for the cemetery.
36, 660.
36, 660.
Where'd you come up
Can you do
with?
me a favor and just punch that, please?
36,660.
I'm sorry, 36, 3,
36,660.
6, 6,
Yep.
You might wanna run for the building.
3 sixes?
Yep.
666.
Sign of the double.
Wait till that gets around.
To the cemetery.
There better be some results, right?
That's right, yeah, that's.
Town clerk, tax collector here, or should we move on to DPW?
Yeah, go past her.
Yeah.
They're here.
Well,
but
all he's got
Ollie
is
did-
patriotic purposes.
Patriotic
For
purposes.
patriotic purposes.
Well, it looks like he level funded.
I'm good.
Thanks, Ollie.
What's this?
Patriotic purposes.
Yeah.
I'm good with his budget.
Yeah, veterans markers, monuments, memorial.
What do we? 1,400.
That's another one, that Veterans Memorial, the Center Cemetery is horrific, that needs to be, invasive stuff growing around it, brushing all over, that needs to be. We put flagpoles in there a few weeks ago and realized how, that one needs a lot of.
And then again, that's our roots and all kind of thing, or they just keep coming back on us.
So what type of veteran monuments and veteran markers are you proposing to purchase?
The ones that hold the stick flag, those types of markers.
And then what are the monuments?
And the monuments, we should go around and grade them, ones that are sunken in.
You're talking foot markers, right, Ollie?
The flat markers, yeah.
Footstones?
Because if you had, Medlin or, whoever you chose to have to do that, that's very expensive. And I got, enough people that said they'd be willing to do that.
So what are you doing with the veteran monuments for 500? Is that labor?
Yes.
Heard you get a good deal on that Roundup these days.
Money you have to spend on buying a suit to use it. Spending the night in town, Pete?
No. You got a room?
Now that, out of that 14 is the American Legion band, and that's kind of one of those, last year was a nice surprise, Stern Burton paid for it in total. But we still need to show it as a line item for an expense, even though it's not gonna come out of taxes, if they continue to give us the $800.
Is there, and I know this isn't the time to talk about it, but I'm gonna pass it on to you, and if you can just give it some thought. Every year when we're in these parades, we say, we need to do something to get more organizations involved with it. Can you look into something on that
What type
avenue?
of organization?
Veterans, thank you. You know, we go and we have, and I don't know what the cadets, and I think there's,
Oh, yeah.
5 of them, and we get a couple of guys in the morning, and then they're gone. I think, no, the cadets come back in the afternoon, but I go to other parades, and you just see so many different groups there. And I would think that New Ipswich would be able to,
Tell them that if we ask. 'Cause we're a week early, so it's not like they're busy, you know?
Well, this year, I believe there'll be more people attending the parade because I talked to the music director and, we're gonna have the scenic band this year.
Nice.
perfect,
That's what-
good job.
that's
That's the
exactly what
type of
David's
thing we're
talking
talking
The
about.
scenic
Yeah.
choir is gonna be singing at the
Nice.
Smithville Center.
Good,
Good.
Um,
That's what
good
he's
job.
referring to.
That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I'm referring.
It's been a long time since we've had a school band.
Mhm.
And I know we talked about whether, I know in the afternoon, the fire department's there and whatnot, whether or not we get that.
Right, the
Wachusett,
old Wachusett.
I think
The
that's the
hand
name
pump,
on it.
we're hoping to get that sort of stuff in the parade, the old fire trucks and that
Oh.
stuff. So we're giving them 6 months. I got a question on the flags. They're purchased in the
Valley
United States,
Forge.
right? Huh?
Valley Forge
They're
brand.
American-made flags, right, Ollie? Okay, good. Ollie and I have had this discussion before.
The sticks are from China.
Nothing from China. I'm good with both those budgets.
Yeah, I'm fine.
David, while you talk about patriotic stuff, we gotta budget something for replacement of the flags that we put on poles every year.
Well, this is where that would go.
Well,
Right.
That's why I'm asking.
What do you pay for a flag? Hey, like $25 for a 3x5?
I don't know.
Oh, no, they're less.
Well,
Oh, you're buying, do you buy the pole and all, or do you just buy replacement flag?
I'll spend buying the poles and all, cause it's cheaper to do that.
Oh. It's cheaper? Then how much is it?
Well, 3 of them are $4,200 for.
Oh, wait, yeah, those were awfully big poles.
You mean the
But-
ones that
Go big or go home.
I thought I bought one at the house.
Well, I try to buy the ones embroidered and not
Right, they're not
screen
tile.
printed. They last longer than the other ones. First
So
ones,
you're probably spending $40 a flag, I bet.
probably.
Yeah. So do we budget 10 flags?
I think somebody should get a price for what they ask that we can budget for them.
Can you get us a number, Peter? Oh,
I know we need a couple at the park.
that'll come out of the
That
park
comes
budget.
out of the parks budget.
Oh,
You try it.
But
You
try it's
You're
flags.
sliding it right in there.
All right,
Pete, what size are those flags?
we good?
3 by
3 by 5.
3 by
So you got a fundraiser started.
Yes.
All right,
I think we're good.
yep, we're good.
We're good with cemeteries, we're good with patriotic purposes. Thank you for coming. It's been a wonderful experience.
Thank you for the increases.
Now you can go shopping tomorrow.
About 80.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys, Christmas, see?
Make that a
I wonder how
checklist,
my
I
wife
don't,
would like it.
cause I can't. But I'm updating it.
Well, maybe some 4x4s.
Yeah.
Ooh, pressure treat.
Oh, all right.
Pressure treated. No. I think it's past us cemetery people's bedtime.
It's past mine. Past my supper time.
Did you say you brought supper?
No.
Somebody have cookies left in the kitchen?
Is there coffee out there, Caroline?
Yeah, this, we got some hours left here.
Was he on the list too? Oh,
Yeah, but Peter.
I didn't know that.
This is all.
The gentleman in the back is, interview.
I
Oh, I didn't know we were doing an interview.
Yeah, I didn't, and that's why.
I've been involved 15 years.
The rest of it.
That's why I,
Richard's required.
right, that's why I got a little cranky there. I didn't have to, but I had to. Oh, I'm sure.
Is an interview in non-public?
Huh?
Can we go in the office and interview in non-public? Can we go in the office and interview in non-public?
Yeah, and then what do you do? Make everybody else wait?
What else are we gonna do? I mean, are we gonna make him come back another night?
Just try and blow through these two.
I know, it might be like,
quick.
never mind, I was kidding.
Did you look at hers?
Hers? No. We can
No,
get
I just need the one that's needed for door hat. But I don't have that, so.
Never mind.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. The job interview.
What's your budget?
DPW?
We got photographic now.
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah.
I think it's people saying.
Yes,
We already will.
DPW job, yeah.
What time did we make the appointment?
How was it?
It's patient.
Yes,
How long do you think it's gonna be?
He's ready to quit.
can we
You're
take
even
15
hiding.
minutes?
Well, it's not gonna make any difference, 15 minutes.
Would you guys mind if we,
10 minutes.
15-minute recess? We're gonna do a non-public down in the selectman's office. You guys can wait here.
Right, you don't even have to move.
Yeah.
I like it, good.
These seats are so
Use the
comfortable.
restroom,
Yeah.
have some
I'll
cookies.
make a motion
All
for a
right.
15-minute recess.
15 minute, yeah, to
Go to
go
a
in.
non-public session.
You guys have one
second?
of those signs for the door?
You wanna come stand guard?
Don't we-
I like those.
RSA what? 93?
90, RSA
91A32A.
32A.
Yeah. Second?
All in favor?
Aye. We'll be back in 15.
Opposed?
And don't mess up my
I appreciate your patience, can I say denied?
And here I am thinking there was a citizen that wanted to hear the
Oh,
budget
he
process.
This is, I have
thought
to
he
say,
was
this is
from
like
the
the first
newspaper.
time I ever like really stuck around for anything like this.
It's a
Actually,
learning
I take that back
process.
the second time, the first one was Westminster, Mass, when they were trying to ban out like all cigarettes and tobacco products.
Oh.
That was fun.
That would be intense.
It was the entire like high school like gymnasium, all the
Oh,
bleachers
yeah, they
down,
come, yeah.
hills.
Let's head down.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Well,
fun.
you have to come to,
Good thing. You leave again, we get to write your budget for you.
Leave again.
I know.
We didn't leave, yeah.
You guys left us.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, we're the ones that left.
Yeah, you guys were.
Now, you wanna write my budget for me?
Make your motion to
We will.
move back from.
We had to wait for Carlotta to be here because she's gotta record it. All right. Motion to come out of recess from non-public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey.
No need to seal.
No.
No,
Well, wages.
Here's a second.
it doesn't.
Okay.
They'll be generic.
Okay.
You should stay awake. Peace.
So it looks like it's level funded.
Right.
Until you get to this.
Yep.
Oh,
Mhm. Yeah, because it's a raise and an increase in hours.
Wait a minute, let me out here, New Hampshire retirement.
Free.
Is sugar free? Well, she.
Because she's saying she's gonna go up,
So I had
which would
to.
increase. I'm assuming that's what all the increases are for.
Poor guy. I know, rough road.
Start walking us through this. It's not clear.
run us through this.
It's not clear. Well, I'd like to be part of the New Hampshire retirement. I'd like to have health insurance, dental insurance, and I need more hours for Wendy. And get the pay scale up where it should be. So that's what that is on the bottom.
So why are you needing more hours?
Because there's increase of revenue, it's busy.
But
I mean,
there's,
and if I'm not here, my office is closed. That is not fair to the people that pay taxes.
but it's fact of life. If you're
But
not
I have-
here, the office is gonna close.
If I have backup, like I need, or like has always been here 4 days a week, then, and I'm only asking for one more day.
Right, you're asking for another 7 hours.
Right.
Right.
One more day. It was 4 days, 2 people, and actually at one point in time Cindy had me, Stacy.
Let's not go back to what the history is, okay?
I
I'm
know.
going forward.
I know, but
Unless
you know,
we-
back then we were making less money too. And now motor vehicle is over $1 million and that's just more
Jessica,
people.
if somebody comes in to register a vehicle and we charge $500 and now the rates have gone up and it's 1,000,
It's not just the rates. You wanna stack years of title applications side by side and see how they rate? We have to process those. We key them in.
mm-hmm.
People have to wait. If there's a problem, people have to wait longer. There's a lot of extra keying in still. It's not just the increase of the rate or anything. It's the increase people have 5, 6 vehicles in their family because kids are getting their driver's licenses. It's just an increase.
Do you have that documented to say we've gone in 2012 to 2018, we've increased?
I have it from 2013, I believe.
Sure,
I have that too.
that's close enough.
2013 at $780,000.
Not volume, not dollars, actual
Number.
registrations.
Oh, registration? No,
Yeah.
I did dollars, sorry.
I'm looking numbers of registrations,
Oh, I can get that.
if you could get that.
Mhm. No problem. You need it right now?
No,
Okay.
Okay.
I'll give it to Carlotta tomorrow.
that'd be fine.
Is this even possible as an
Ask
elected official?
Huh?
Because that's what she's asking.
Go ahead and ask the question. Yeah.
New Hampshire Retirement and Health Insurance, you're an elected official.
So aren't all the other town clerks?
Yes, 20 with that.
I have information here for Peterborough, just town clerk, and she makes $60,000. She has dental insurance, disability
that's-
insurance, retirement. She's just town clerk.
And she does the exact same amount of money we do.
But that's not New Ipswich.
It's
New Ipswich
Peterborough.
does not have benefits, has never had benefits included that I'm aware of for the elected officials.
And so that's not a possibility. I mean, I don't understand. I'm paid, I'm voted by the townspeople,
Mm-hmm.
but my paycheck comes from the town of New Ipswich.
Correct.
How am I not an employee?
Yep.
Little bit different, you know, I get it, but how does that not make me eligible?
Are you working over the 32 hours a week?
I've never calculated it.
And again,
I mean, on
you're a stipend, or you're a
I'm salaried.
salary position
Mm-hmm.
with, you have something to say? Go ahead.
I don't think ours apply for a salary position, a
Right.
non-exempt position.
Mm-hmm.
We work whatever hours you have to work.
And the way our employee handbook is, in order to get the benefits, it has to be an hourly position over 32 hours.
That's the employee handbook.
Right.
Then again, I don't fall into the employee handbook. I was told that not too long ago.
Because you are an elected official.
Yeah.
Correct.
Could I have a rule book, please?
The what book?
A rule book as an elected official?
Can you have the rule book?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's asking for an elected official handbook.
Oh,
Because there's plenty of them that have health insurance, and that's not a, that's, you know, and if she was to work for 32 hours, if you wanted her to document it, that's definitely doable, or she could add a few hours to the office, so that's not the, you know.
but see, we're not. I understand the need to have health insurance, okay? I understand that. The point, though, isn't to make the hours work to provide the benefit. It's what do we need for hours to provide the service? And if we're doing it with the less than the 32 without the benefits, that's the way we should continue. Now, if, as I'm saying earlier, if there's enough documentation to show that that position is a 40-hour a week position, then maybe that's something we have to look at and come up with a way of handling it. But right now, without knowing all of the circumstances, it's tough to make a decision to say, yes, that's an acceptable thing to add to the budget.
I would agree, and it's not anything we've ever done in the past, so to me, it would be new. I'd have to have more information in all respects to just add somebody onto the benefit package. It's not something I'm gonna decide for you tonight, I can assure you of that.
I don't think your figures are right on health insurance.
Carla helped me with them, so I'm sorry.
That's what we had.
That's what I'm working
That's
on.
what we had.
I think they're low.
We used the single plan,
Mhm.
times 12, times .85.
The, on the police budget, it was 8,054 town-wise for a single.
I don't know if the police chief, used the new
Didn't
Tufts
have them.
numbers.
Oh,
I
good
think
point.
he had used the projected health trust with the 10% increase.
That could be it.
David, the elected official, so I agree with you, it's a position that was elected, she ran for the office. And as such, is there something in your, anywhere in our town, like policies or whatever, that says, you know, we, the Board of Selectmen have chosen to exempt elected officials from receiving those benefits, right? Or is there something like that? Other than the fact we've never done it.
To be honest with you,
I'm wondering
I
if
don't
it is.
think that's in there, and I'm not aware that we have it. Always in my years of service here, it's been,
Right.
well, if somebody's over the 32 hours, and that's when the benefits have kicked in, but it's never been for an elected official. It's always
Employee.
an employee,
Right,
yeah, an
that's
hourly
Right.
Yeah.
employee, so.
Because if she, when she's up for re-election again or whatever, if she loses, then she's no longer,
Mhm.
okay.
Would
I'm
this
just curious
conceivably
if
be
we could use
something
it,
that
you-
would have to be voted on by the town to provide benefits first?
Well, no, it would not be if it's voted on, it's voted on as part of the town budget. You know, they either approve or they don't approve the town budget.
No, that doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not as a separate warrant article.
Mhm.
Now, might there be something, Jessica, do you, belong to like an association of, is there some organization, state that maybe offers you insurance at?
No.
You can purchase it on your own, you know what I mean, like at in a pool.
Healthcare.gov in New Hampshire.
Right, that's the way you have to do it, but it's not through the association.
Right.
And I guess the same thing would be New Hampshire retirement. If you're a salaried position, why would we now start putting you into New Hampshire retirement?
Well, just to start showing that the appreciation for the office, you've told her that she's quite a bit more efficient. You've told her that she's pulled the office together, and yet it seems that you don't quite wanna, back that up with something as to taking care of her, because she does have to be here a number of hours a week. It's not like she's here 5 hours a week, so you can't really get another job around it. So to provide health benefits would be a sensible thing to do, I think, for any of you. If you had a job for 24 to 30 hours a week, that, okay, so have her open a few more hours to make it to the 32.
But I'm looking
You
at
could
here
change
at
that.
what the salary is for that position, and that's a very good salary.
It is,
I'm
it is.
not asking for an increase, and there hasn't been an increase in years.
I understand, but if you look at the salary for the hours for that office,
So if she opened more hours, that would be helpful.
I didn't say that.
But-
Don't put words in my mouth.
I'm not-
All I'm saying
working
is,
with what you said. I'm
I
working
look
with
at the
exactly what you
salaries
said.
and I look at the hours worked.
Right,
It's a good salary.
right, absolutely.
Okay.
But
And that's,
say in Peterborough, there's a.
I'm not in
town
Peterborough.
where- I don't, I.
Peterborough has probably
I know exactly.
another few $1 million in,
Tax base.
yeah, tax base than we do.
Absolutely, I'm just looking at population to say they're
Apples to
doing,
apples.
Yeah.
they're doing,
They're almost 8,000, we're just over 5. Yes.
I don't think so, but okay.
And there also have people that are considered residents there that don't have driver's licenses anymore, way beyond what we have.
Absolutely.
Way
I'm not
beyond
saying-
what we have.
Right,
So they're not registering cars, they're not,
Anybody here.
they're
What I'm
not
trying
doing
to do-
dog licenses, they're, you know, so.
Well, they actually do have dogs because I worked in Peterborough,
Mhm.
but anyway, they, the point being that the monetary figure that the town clerk's office brings in Peterborough is exactly almost the same, okay? It's almost exactly the same as New Hampshire. It's just the only reason I used it, just so you know, that I didn't come from nowhere with that. So,
What monetary figure are you referring to?
so what this office brings in just town clerking, mind you, she's town clerk and tax collector, but in just town clerking, Linda's office is very, very, they're within a few $100 grand of each other. So that's why I used it, was just because it's a very similar, workload, okay? And then also, the tax collector also is a full-time, and obviously, I understand there's differences, I'm not saying that. I was trying to find somebody who brought in as much income to a town, kind of makes it level up, you know?
Well, as a tax collector, I would think they bring in,
Oh, tax collector, right, but she's both.
Right.
She's both, so
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, and however you wanna look at it, but in Peterborough, there's a tax collector, there's an assistant.
What about in
tax
Mason?
collector, There's,
what about in Mason?
what about Mason?
You keep going to Peterborough, and I'm saying, well, we're not
Well,
at
the money's
Peterborough.
different, I was trying to, it was an office I'd worked in, so I've seen it for myself, so
Okay.
it's much easier to grasp for me, that's the only reason. That's the only reason, yep.
If I might.
And Mason is not the same population anyway.
Greenville's town clerk gets health insurance.
I was just gonna
She gets a
add,
401k, she gets New Hampshire retirement, health, dental, she has
And that's a
And-
lot less, so I don't
And
know.
And they have a
also-
tax rate, I think, a town tax rate.
Well, they made some decisions.
What's
about
his
that.
salary?
Well,
Yeah, they made decisions
I don't know.
to raise their
But
taxes.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, it really doesn't justify anything, no matter what town you talk to, you know what I mean?
What do you average for hours a week? What would you average, 28? That 28-year-old?
Yeah, definitely 28.
Open 24,
Yep.
based on the website.
Yep, exactly.
I'm not far. Not
So
far from
you,
it.
you figure you work 28?
Oh, yeah. And then some
You
days.
figure you work 30? Work 30 hours a week?
On occasion,
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah,
Depends on-
sometimes I could, yeah.
Election time?
Election time, tax time, stuff like that.
Election time, tax time,
Mhm.
that's, you know, you wanna average
I
those
don't know if
weeks
it should
in with
be over
everything else,
40
I
hours.
work more than just 2 hours then.
I was just gonna, mention that when I left Ringe, and that was a few years ago, and I'm not sure if it's changed, but they did have a full-time town clerk and a full-time tax collector, and they both got health, dental, retirement, all those things.
Jaffrey's the same way.
Again, look at the tax base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
different.
mean, it's
Yep.
different. New Ipswich doesn't have the luxury of the Market Basket, the Walmart, the Hannaford's,
The college.
you know, the college,
Right, oh,
you know.
absolutely. Oh,
So
yeah.
we gotta be on our game with watching the dollars, okay?
Right.
And I'm not trying to slight your position in any way. I'm just trying to look at it to say, if the town had grown proportionately, that, hey, we've got a lot more workload down there, and the numbers could prove that, then by all means, I'd be advocating for some way of making that work. But right now, unless you can give us something there, I don't see it. So, but once you can get us that information on the registrations, that'd be a good start. Keep going, don't. It's awfully quiet in here.
On what?
$102,000 budget on that.
Yeah, well, not much more to talk about, cause the retirement, health insurance and dental insurance, that's,
Where'd you come up with the 1750 for the deputy?
Trying to get a pay increase. How many times do you work in? What's your pay over there?
That doesn't need to be discussed, but, I mean, it's just, last year we went for 17, you went to 15, I agreed to stay, which is fine. I do have a lot of years of experience, and, so I thought the 250 would bring me to 1750, which seems reasonable.
It's fine having that on there. The board has made the decision that we'll review any, if we have any, we're gonna review all of the salary adjustments at one time. So,
That's fine.
I'm not saying one way or the other, but
Okay.
No problem.
I mean, as far as adding hours to the deputy, I'm hearing from most people in this office that it just keeps getting busier. I'm sure you're aware that Lori's asked for more hours. I mean, I'd like for the three of us to decide on that, but I don't see an issue with adding some more hours. I don't know if it warrants a 7-hour bump, but I wouldn't
So
be.
not even adding a full day? You want her to come in?
Well, I'm
part
not
of the
sure,
day?
Jessica, that's why I say we need to discuss it. I mean, it's there.
Okay.
and I mean, also, I think the residents have to understand that when they're asking us to try and hold the budget, why do my taxes go up? Well, if we can't be increasing rates and hours, then they're gonna have to be a little more patient when they come. You know, if they have to wait an
Alright, it's
extra,
either or. Yeah, they got it.
you know,
But the other hand of this, of course, is that she's an elected official, so the happiness of the public kind of depends on her job as well. So it's a double-edged sword, you know what I mean? Like, as an employee, they have to make sure that you guys are happy.
we're talking up point.
Right, no, but I'm saying, right, but if I'm in the office, she can stay open more, so that makes sense, right? So if she was out, like I work in other towns, so I
Yeah.
can't be here other days. So if she was out for some reason, I could keep the office open if I was here on those days, on Wednesdays and Thursdays, but I can't, because I'm not here. So,
She has to have a job elsewhere because she's only part-time.
So how's she gonna, why are you requesting another 7 hours?
So I can have her here more. She can get rid of other jobs and just stick in one town instead of 5.
right, so we'll see, I mean, you know, if it works out, if it doesn't, I mean,
If it doesn't, she's not gonna stick around, then I'm really in trouble.
well, no, I'm not trying to threaten anybody, this is not that, it's not what I'm feeling, but,
I know you love me.
I do.
More accessible, throughout Fridays and that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the position that we've discussed,
Right.
so that's why I'm not opposed to entertaining some sort of conversation about it.
Wendy, how many hours are you working right now? Or how many days and hours?
here,
Yes.
2 days, and it depends on the days. So right now, I do transport my son on Mondays, so I'm a little cut down, so we're usually at 13-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was approved for 14 in the
Yeah.
budget,
Right, but, so what days do you work?
Monday and Tuesday.
Monday and Tuesday, about 7 hours each, okay. No, I'm just trying to think, like, if we were doing some increases, there's a way to say, instead of doing 777, could you do, you know, spread it out a little bit more?
Well,
You
then I
know.
have to drive here more, so I mean, you know, after a while, if I was trying to do like 4 days, I mean, that's just, that wouldn't be very appealing, to be honest with you. Just saying.
What do you think on adding hours?
I think that should be a topic to discuss when we're doing the wages. Yeah.
The rest of it's for level funding, basically.
Yeah,
The rest of it's like.
right.
Yeah.
What are your computer services? Is that,
Avatar and Interweb, the bills are attached.
so I guess what caught my eye is you spent 6628 this year. And next year you've got it going down. So is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, those are actual bills that I've submitted to Roger. I think it was, we had to purchase new credit card swipe machines last year. I think that's what the increase was, or this year, with the signature pad, I think.
And you've got binding town reports.
Yes,
Old ones.
old town reports, yeah, and new ones need to be bound. I haven't had time, they're down in the basement, they're old, and
So again, should we be crossing that off, or is it gonna happen?
no, it has to happen. So along with having the company come in to
Mhm.
handle my back room and the downstairs, so that's like a process that needs to be done. I haven't had time because I only have help 2 days a week to schedule things. There's stuff I'm not getting done, David.
That's a matter of a phone call, no? Getting the records management people here?
And scheduling them, but they need to be here
Yeah.
when I'm here, and if I'm here by myself, I can't. How am I supposed to handle everything? Mondays aren't a good day for that, beginning of a week. And Tuesdays I don't come in until 1.
But Wendy's working Monday, Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
You're working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So when Wendy's here on a Monday or a Tuesday,
Mondays, it takes both of us. I mean, you know, that's the point. You don't just sit there alone. If you do, I'd be a little busy. Just a little too busy.
Yeah,
So,
Mondays
yeah.
are.
Mondays are busy, so both of us need to be there.
all I was asking was, on one of those 2 days, you'd be able to show somebody from records management what it is you needed guidance on. Is that not correct?
Well, I'm at the point where they've organized that back room, now they need me as far as getting like software set up with them, organizing it so I know where I'm finding all my stuff. Cause it's just kinda set up. Mark went in there and built me shelves and it's just, whatever. And then the stuff downstairs hasn't even been touched yet.
I guess I'm looking at it like any other line item budget. If we're not spending it, I don't wanna budget it. I don't wanna budget it on a whim that, well, if I get around to it, I'll make it happen. If it's not gonna happen, let's take it out of there.
Do what you want. Do what you want.
Well, I guess we'll use the same line we used on the cemetery trustees. I guess if we fund it and it's not spent this year, then there won't be anything there next year. Is that-
We can go that route.
You know, I mean, and try to get them here for the, what's budgeted, cause it was over $2,000 their first time and they were here for 3 days. I don't have much in there for them to just, you know, scoop up a day or a few hours or whatever it is that that's gonna pay them.
Well, you budgeted $1750. We don't know
It got
what it
cut.
is.
It got cut last year, so I didn't budget it at $1750. I provided document last year. Cause just as much work needs to go into where we're at.
I'm sure last year was $1750. That's what we had budgeted.
Well, then I got to go over budget. Cause I had a quote from them and everything.
I'm looking here, just going back to 2016 and 2000. It wasn't until 2017 that there was a budget for that records management.
Correct.
Actually, 2018. For 1750. Did you take it out of money that was left over?
I don't remember how it was set up. It was between you guys and Joanne, or other selectmen and Joanne. It was done.
So you leave it in?
Yeah, I think so. I'm getting this cloudy recollection of how we did this, but it's not.
Well, I just remember that, I think the recollection, again, where you said it was $2,000 for 3 days, we didn't think they had 3 days worth of work, so we cut it down last year to the $1,750. Because if $2,000 got them 3 days worth of work, and I think
I'm
we asked if
showing
they,
the budget for 1750, that was it.
that was her proposed budget?
In 2018, excuse me, we had the split, tax collector, town clerk tax collector. When I'm looking at the 2016 and 2017 budgets for town clerk, tax collector, that's when we had separate
Yeah.
positions. There was no record of
Right, I'm just asking. what-
records
yeah.
management
Yeah.
in there. And then when we put it into one budget,
Mhm.
there was, 1750 is what was proposed by the department head for 2018, and the Board of Selectmen carried that same number.
Okay.
Because her budget in 2018 that was proposed was 99,021, and that got revised to 87,567, but that line item was not.
Okay. I'm fine leaving it in.
Yeah, as am I.
If you don't have any other questions, we'll go on to,
Right, no, not at this point, other than the items at the bottom, but we'll discuss them.
all set?
I'll get the
All right.
information to Carlotta tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Nice try.
Well, we'll be in here till March, we'll get this done before the ballots are.
We'll be in jail, you can come visit us. Well, they haven't posted.
So how much you want, Peter?
$2.5 million.
Done.
Peter, line 432, that should be DPW vehicle maintenance, right?
Yep. Yes.
David, I thought you had a rule if you had to plug it in.
Trying to play catch up here.
Staying late just for me.
Yeah.
What's he trying to propose here? DPW.
So we basically are starting at 240, right? We're not gonna talk about anything about 240.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about 110 first.
Oops, 1, 2.
Salaries.
You said we were gonna talk about all at the same time.
Just bear with me a second. We're gonna talk about salary adjustments.
Oh.
Salary adjustments. But, Peter, do these numbers include the merit?
2.5%.
See how I'm doing.
So it's total.
That one? I thought it was 3. Yeah, it was 3.
3%
Jeez.
pool.
And I think it's my memory.
No, it's three.
And you're looking at me like, Dave, don't you remember?
Did you tell him 2.5%?
No, I'm thinking it was 3 and he's saying 2.5. I'm looking at John like, John, was that the right number?
That's what I used. I thought it was 2.5, and I had it written down as 2.5.
So those have to get changed, and while you're changing that, if you could,
Change that. new part.
yes.
Yep.
Ron must have run out of film, out of video, whatever we call it nowadays.
I've never had that
Is
happen
that even
before.
possible anymore?
When you're watching the silent movies, yes, you can run out
And
of
you
film.
won't
Well,
adjust
yeah.
the new employee
They're gonna beat up on you
Correct.
for being old.
to the 3%.
No.
Yeah, okay.
No, I just got a little bit of that.
Yes,
what I
yeah,
did,
yeah. So we'll just,
1750.
put up.
Yeah.
So, DPW.
Where it says new in the hourly rate, that's gonna be a different rate.
Oh, the hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna mark this up. Part-time, Peter.
Didn't we,
Yeah.
I thought we already tweaked all these to.
You tried to level fund that?
Yep. That's basically, well, part-time hours there are basically for winter hours. So somebody comes in the winter, like for Mark, for example, if he comes in, plows for me, his hourly
Okay.
rate comes out of there and not out of the building maintenance budget.
All right, then the overtime,
It's for the full-time employees.
where we're at 83, and we had a budget of 14, and you're asking for 15.
Well,
what's
right
that?
now, we're at 93.55. As of the end of November.
What is it at?
93.55 at the end of November.
How come I've got a report here of December 10th that says it's at 82.59?
I'm going by what my end of the month November printer. Because we had a lot of overtime in November. Plowing and sanding and salt.
Yeah,
At least the printout I get from Roger right there.
right. So, but this printout,
Yeah.
I still don't like the
doesn't
way
have
he
to-
works this out of you.
Did they?
I fix this every year.
That's from Roger.
He
is
uses
your
the highest rate.
actual.
Yeah.
He uses the highest rate.
Yep.
It should be an average of the rate.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm just saying, cut this thing down.
Well, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. This, even your part-time rate though, that should have gone down, no?
Yeah. Could've.
Could've, would've,
Wow.
will?
It's all based on Mother Nature. This whole budget's based.
No, but like you're saying,
No, they-
that when you're bringing in
The hourly rate you're talking,
Right,
yeah,
Yeah.
not the dollar value.
not, well,
Well, the dollar value will come
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
No,
I hope they're a function of the.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
but
basing it on if I get somebody who's qualified that comes in and wants to work part-time, but my luck in that is zero.
Right, so rather than
Yeah.
budgeting on a whim, I'd
Yeah.
rather,
That's fine too.
can we just put that at, round numbers, 400 hours, $6,000?
Yep.
What line you on? I'm sorry.
111.
Second line.
Well, we made it that far already.
And same thing with the overtime, you want
Yeah, John's doing that math
to
now.
figure
Yeah,
out.
I'm looking at that.
Yeah, these young guys use this newfangled stuff.
Well, we're gonna let Jay start doing this.
Oh, yeah, we're in trouble. Break out the abacus.
Yeah, because
You're just gonna hang around to watch, right?
I'm just saying is,
Early you said nothing Chinese, and now you want an abacus.
That is Thursday, right?
December so far has been an easy
So
month.
what's that number now then, the overtime?
He's
We haven't
still
got there
working on
yet.
it.
Part-time.
Part-time is
part-time
6,000.
6,000.
Better be on the overtime pretty quick.
Might be paying overtime now, I mean,
It's a good thing you're salary.
no, I'm elected official.
Good thing for us taxpayers.
Did you get an average?
I did. More fun. 2 times 583.
I think we should be down to $12,000.
11,671.
So what you going at?
12.
11,700.
Jay, 12,000 on the part-time? On the
I already
overtime?
wrote down 11,671, so now you wanna scratch it out.
11,700.
I'm good at 12.
Oh my goodness, what number should I
Well, that's, I'm waiting.
12,000.
Put the pen away, get the pencil out.
Or it makes it too far with
That's
into
switched
the.
out.
Totally now, right, yeah. I chiseled it into stone.
You said part-time is at 6?
6, yeah.
Now, health insurance based
Round
on
numbers.
12,000 overtime?
That's what I said. 11,700.
and
That's not a round number. 11's an odd number, so is 7.
7-Eleven.
Well,
Those numbers are all gonna change now.
yeah, health,
The salary number?
Health, dental, life,
Yeah.
FICA.
the salaries he's gonna have to redo.
We're gonna
Yeah.
recalculate,
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
so if you were curious what the number, how it came. So it's,
No.
okay.
Is this health insurance based on? the
That's what I'm
new
saying, that-
insurance?
No,
No.
we're gonna
based on
recalculate.
the
Right.
10% increase
So this all has to get
change.
changed.
All the way right down to retirement. Yeah, right.
Didn't we sit down and figure out what these numbers actually are?
Budget, so let's just go.
Didn't we sit here one night?
210 to 230.
No, we
Roll
were
right
doing
by.
the, what they were gonna get this year.
Oh, okay.
Right, 210 to 230.
Yeah, we're on.
Yeah, Medicare retirement, education and training,
That's first play.
400, he spent 420, so that's good. DPW uniforms and boots, 7,000. How'd you go up?
Well,
Peter, without me having to keep flipping back and forth, how did you bump that number?
Well, I went back from my usage for the last 10 months and multiplied it by 12. You look at last year actual, I spent 10,989.
Yeah, but this year you spent 7,042, and what are we getting?
he's missing a guy, that's why it's down.
Yeah.
He did.
Okay, what are we getting for these guys?
T-shirts, jackets, pants, shop rags, and steel-toe boots.
Yeah.
And what's it costing us? Have we gone out for?
Boot per employee.
$175 per employee.
Yeah, I mean,
So if you rounded it to 2, there's $1,000 for boots. I'm just trying to give you a number, and then, because
Every 2 years.
I don't think we're getting value out of it. I work
that's
on
my
it.
point, and I'm just trying to say,
There's always one good.
are we putting this stuff out for pricing? It seems we've always had the same company, and I don't know what we charge, or,
Actually, the company I got priced once was Santar, and they ended up buying a company that we had, so I, they're all, the only two companies got it, Universe and Santar,
And Crown.
and Crown, but they're all within the same ballpark.
For you.
Collusion.
What we pay is, I got pants, I go out, you pay for the shirts, but I go out and buy 7 sets of shirts for the year.
Basis.
but wait a minute, I thought we were,
My shirts, I'm talking about, what they get down there is 7 pairs of pants, actually it's 14. 7 on, they replace them every week, so you
Wait a
get
minute.
14 pairs down there.
14 pairs, that's going a pair a day for 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, pair a day,
5 days a week.
yeah, then you get,
Over, like, storms.
They get dirty
Comfort.
sitting in there.
You want them to drive without pants?
That presents another problem.
You really wanna get this thing moving.
2 coats per employee.
All I'm asking is, are we getting the best bang for our buck?
I think so, my personal opinion. I have, employees haven't had any complaints on the pants and stuff like I usually have. Biggest thing is pants,
Don't we just buy the t-shirts? Don't you?
Yeah, but I haven't bought any for this year.
So all we're getting is pants. right?
Pants, jackets, sweatshirts, rags for the shop.
So we're
And-
getting, oh yeah, them
and
them
shoes.
jackets. All right, I wasn't thinking the jackets and the sweatshirts.
So just 2 jackets per employee.
Is this something that we're supposed to be doing?
That's probably a personnel policy.
Right, I think so.
It's in the
Did
policy.
you
But
guys
I-
spend this budget last year, that uniform? Cause last year they spent $10,989 actual. So you budgeted for this 2018 $7,000. He's over already $7,042.
So
So
as
it's
of,
really going back to what he spent in 2017.
as of the end of November, I spent $95.07.
Spent 95 on 100 on the uniforms.
They bill like locally, right?
See, that's what I'm not seeing. I'm seeing, no, he only spent 7,000 this
Well, I
year.
know.
Why am I going up to 10? My sheet says 7,000.
That's why I brought my
Right,
end of the
but in
month in November
2017, he
here.
spent
I got 7.
$10,789, and I was just questioning why they only budgeted 7,000.
Because I'm thinking there was something was an abnormality in there for that.
But yeah, he's at 9,500 now.
You tried the green side?
Hmm?
They want to close
Check out
the
the green center.
To be honest with you, I got a couple of shirts out there once.
Are you using
I
the
got
old
it.
clothes for rags? You cut back on the rags?
So we pay roughly $182 a week for
Per employee.
per employee. No,
It's a lot of
No.
clothes.
no,
No?
no. You take,
So you get,
I took the 9,500,
yeah, divided by,
52,
yeah,
it's $182 a week for laundry service.
yeah,
Right.
plus $175 for shoes per employee.
Right, so if we took the,
Yeah, take the shoes out of there.
yeah.
And I usually used to buy, I didn't this year, but usually buy t-shirts now.
$1,000 out of. Yeah, so I mean, if you take his budget and do the 95,
Yeah.
now you're sitting at $182 a week.
So if you bought each guy 5 pair of pants, that's a a new pair of pants every day, and you paid $50 for a pair of pants, right? You got $250. If you bought that same guy a pair of boots for $200, you got him 2 coats at $75 a piece, that's $150. And you bought him 5 t-shirts, say that's, they're $15 a piece, that's $60. You've spent $910 to outfit a guy, so we'll round it up to $1,000. There's 5 guys down there, that's $5,000, that's half of this budget.
But they gotta wash, they have to wash
Yeah,
them
do six.
themselves.
Right.
You gotta do 6.
You gotta launder your own clothes.
Right, and then if they
Is
rip
that
a
a
pair,
shock to the world? What?
but
Yeah.
they rip a pair, what happens?
That's why they have 5 pairs. Then you get another pair of pants. I've always said, even when I worked for Peter, I always said, it's a lot of money for what we get.
Yeah,
I-
it's not just clothes.
With the
it's
guys,
rides,
he's,
too.
yeah, he's in a maintained uniform.
Really?
Again, you get the green center next to
Didn't
it.
see that.
But I'm just saying, you
No,
know,
I-
if
I
you
sorry, I
take,
don't.
take
Good
a
red
pair of
rags.
pants, go
Yeah.
home,
I
and
just-
wash them.
No,
3
I
cents
just,
up in the washing machine, and you ruin your wife's clothes, it's gonna cost you more than a pair of pants.
I don't have money enough for that.
Alright, no, I'm just saying, that's,
10 grand to me for what we get, I just think is a lot of money. That's all. My
Well,
opinion.
that would have to be a policy change if it's something that we have in the handbook.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do a uniform allotment. So say a guy doesn't need $200 for a pair of boots one year, and you still give him $1,000. So now he can buy another pair of pants or whatever you want. Do what you want with it, kind of thing. Because right now you're spending $2,000 per person. So, just my thinking, that's all. Do what you want with it.
We did
I
that
just
without
wondered-
any of your electronics too, I just
Yeah.
don't you.
10 divided by 5. But, again, I look at it and I
think
say,
you have to look at that as a benefit, maybe it's
Mhm.
something that, I mean.
It is, and
these
it's
guys-
an added
these guys
benefit
are
to the
getting
job.
wealthy off of.
It's an added
off of,
benefit to the
you
job.
know, Working, and that's a hard job, and it's hard on clothes.
Well,
And
I'll
he's
tell you
right.
what, they're not doing too bad. You talk about they're not getting wealthy, but they're not doing too bad. And we treat the employees pretty well
if you look at
for what the position is.
the position is,
Absolutely.
it's a good position.
I appreciate every one of them.
You
Don't
work
think,
for it,
don't
but-
think I don't. but
Yeah.
Don't,
Yes, I'm-
don't think that they're, I mean, we pay pretty well. Plus the benefit.
And the
package.
benefits,
Benefit package here is excellent.
yeah.
Just my
But
thoughts.
it is an added benefit to the job.
So
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
they don't pay so much for health insurance and all that stuff.
Right.
Well, we just
Just a thought.
interviewed somebody and we told him what his portion is. Wow. Yeah,
A third of what he's paying now. Oh, more than a
yeah.
third.
No, it was about
About a
a
third?
third, because
Yeah.
he said it was over 2.
Well, you do
So.
that because of the pool, right, a municipal pool of employees.
Well, I'm just looking at it as
Yeah, I-
an employer there.
That's how we push it in nonprofits, that's what we do.
Yeah, we're a nonprofit too, remember that?
Yeah. 64
That's what
Appleton
I'm
Road's a
saying.
nonprofit as well. But that's my take on that.
Drug and alcohol testing, do you have, where you've spent more than what I'm seeing? 281?
it's based on the pool, how many people get drawn.
Oh, he means on.
Oh. 281's.
Is what you spent in.
Yep. Yeah, we can, you wanna cut it back?
I'm just
we
gonna
can
go
do
to
that.
$300.
Yeah.
The uniform's 177.
Yeah.
Are you doing 300?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're in a pool, so if our employees get picked, they have to go for drug and alcohol test.
DPW heat, is that a 5.9?
5.7.
57.50. That's $1,000 more than what you've, unless you've got a, I've got 4,791 this year.
I've got 5188.
Is this oil?
Yeah, heat well.
How come we don't have the
You
same
got a
numbers?
higher rate.
I rate this year too.
And this report is more current than his.
Doesn't make sense.
We're finding that out. Waste heat, waste oil,
Mhm.
Are we using that yet?
It's almost, we're almost out of wastewater. But there's also, there's 3 furnaces in the green center, plus the one for the lunchroom, so you're talking 3 furnaces that, 2 of them I don't have no control.
Controls.
This controls air, green center, if they're out there working, they're gonna turn the heat.
Oh, you don't have control.
I don't have
Okay,
control, so
I
that's.
get, no, it's late.
It's like home, the women
DPW
have
vehicle.
control.
Actually, when I first got here, it was $10,000 for heat all up and down.
We're not talking about the past.
Exactly. Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
We're learning, teacher.
I have to write these down.
Unless it's to our advantage, so you're forgetting it's,
What about
Exactly.
vehicle
I'm
maintenance?
gonna get that snippet of the tape.
Is the Parks and Rec in the drug testing pool?
No. It can be.
so is that repair line an actual number, Pete?
All things are
What do you-
54,703.
What do you have?
54,703.
$10,000, $20,000 difference.
54?
What are we dumping all the money into?
Well, we had 14 had to have new radiator put in. It's not under warranty anymore.
Did the 5750 hold?
Yeah.
Actually, 14 just went back up 2 weeks ago. I had an EGI valve that blew up on it, so I haven't got the bill on that yet. I'm trying to think about.
So if in
13.
17 we were at 54,134, this year in 18 you're at 54,703, we think 40,000 is a good budget?
It's a guessing game. These
Okay.
new vehicles with little electronics that
They're junk, they really
won't be
are.
long. I'll have hair just like Jay.
That old 95 International I started out in, that was a nice truck.
Dry hydrant maintenance,
You leaving that one at 40?
40.
Okay.
I put 5,000. We can probably lower that down.
Since you did 1,065
Yeah.
this year, how many others are broken?
There's only one more I got to replace.
So 1,065,
Yep. If you want it.
do 1,500.
1,500.
What's jumped the cell and
Yeah, you're holding
communications?
pretty steady there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Probably the same thing as everybody else.
Yeah, Comcast.
Every other department has gone up.
I paid
It's that good deal we
When
got.
did we put that in though?
We-
$150 a month.
I'm gonna have to
What do you mean,
call
when did we
Jay,
put that?
another 2-year deal
That
that's
that
coming
new
up.
phone system went in and
March.
I think we should all.
March, April.
this year?
Yeah.
Because it went down.
Right, that's what says. It went down and now
I
everybody's
mean, the
telling
phone
us.
system went down.
Yeah, but everybody's telling us,
Can you have
yeah,
Debbie pull that information
right.
back out?
I think we need to look at another phone
Yeah.
system.
I'd like to look at
Something.
the paperwork.
Yeah, I think we got snookered on that one.
Electricity, fresh gravel, coal patch. Can we take that, we can delete that coal patch?
No, not yet.
Oh,
Sure.
you still got Appleton Road.
We're not even putting coal patch there.
Yeah. That's
comes
the
out
only
of the
one
block
he's gonna
grant.
allow chip sealing on.
That should come out of the block grant.
That's fine.
I mean, nothing to do with physically road materials should come from that block grant.
So take 2,800 out.
Yeah.
Zero.
So you should be
Highway
using less
block.
anyway.
Yeah,
You're
we
improving
are.
the roads, right?
Well,
Yeah.
when I first did, it was $15,000. That's how much we've come down since then.
Wildlife management.
Yep.
Beavers.
Yeah, I know. There was an article in yesterday's paper, some guy up north that
Trappers.
does it. Yeah. Did you read it?
Are you keeping the pelts? Are we making money on the pelts?
No, they're not worth anything.
Did you read? Yeah. Did you read the article? I'm like,
Actually, I didn't spend anything, I should have spent money, but the guy never built anything, I trapped a couple of them down near the
Yeah.
back. I said, shh, shh.
Never built
Uh,
it. Shh.
Just so I know my number's wrong, what have you spent this year for calcium?
9280.
Oh,
Okay,
that is the right same number.
And a lot of that is because we started getting rain first of August.
Tree removal, I'd say we take
You
that
gonna-
out because he
wanna do
hasn't cut down a tree
You
in
wanna,
2
do
years.
it with that calcium line? He spent 9280, the year's over.
That just means he's-
Because the year before was 13,680, I'd be kinda concerned.
Okey-dokey.
Are you taking out the 1,000 on the tree?
It was a suggestion on my part,
I just put $1 there.
dollar.
A dollar.
I'd leave it.
There's 3 or 4
Why, he
trees in the
hasn't cut any of
cemetery
them?
that need removed.
Listen, if you started cutting trees, you'd spend $100,000 on River Road alone.
Roadside.
Says the guy who lives there.
Tax
How come roadside mowing, we don't have, at least my sheet doesn't show any cost, and I know we rented that machine.
2870.
2870.
Roadside mowing.
So
Did
3
that mow
grand.
everything?
No. Only had it for 2 weeks.
And how many weeks you plan on mowing?
I usually have it for a month.
So the month is 4,500.
As Jay was saying, why are we doing brush instead of just ripping it out with the excavator?
Well, he's talking mowing though, he's not talking brush cut.
Roadside mowing.
Yeah, there's a difference.
that's where you should have
Unless
thrown all
you
the
go down
rest.
to your lawn with an excavator. and
You should've-
they're-
He's
they're
not out there with a
mowing.
lawnmower.
They're out there with a mower.
You should have thrown the rest of your
Well,
calcium on there, and then you wouldn't have to mow it.
Yeah, let's up the calcium.
Mix some Roundup in it too.
There you go. That's what I was saying. We should do it with the cemetery. It's not going to hurt anybody over there.
Culverts to $1.
Do you know of any culverts you're gonna have to redo?
Yeah, he does, a bunch of them. But it comes out of the highway block grant.
Oh, so you're gonna, oh.
Yeah, unless these gentlemen speak up and tell me something different, I'm thinking anything that we use to work on a road
Right.
should come out of the block
Fine,
grant.
with-
Yeah,
absolutely.
we'll go
Yeah.
with that.
So what's the
This-
deal with
this-
the roadside mowing? Is that saying?
Yeah.
This 1500 wasn't for the culverts for the roads we're redoing. It's a road that we haven't done yet. We had a culvert problem. Could be a dirt road.
Can still come out of the block grant.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just,
So how much is the block rate? Just out of curiosity.
128 last year.
no, 140 something, wasn't it?
I think it's up to 160.
Yeah, we got 128, then we got the bonus. That's what it was.
Oh,
Yeah,
Is it 0 or 1?
just
One.
one.
Just one.
don't forget to spend.
Salt, what did you spend?
Got moving
I've
back.
got 43,285.
I got 49,309.
Oh, this is crazy.
So, are we being a little more conservative on the amount of salt going down?
Well, all depends on Mother Nature and what she gives me.
But it's a $5,000 increase over last year. So.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
spent,
and it's $4,000 less than what we pay.
right, so,
So,
I'm all right with it.
I'm good. I'm good where it is.
Calculated fuel, the numbers that we gave you.
yep.
What have you spent this year?
Fuel, 35,969.
Equipment rental, Pete, what do you got for an actual number? I'm not sure why his is better than mine, but
2926.
So you went over on that one. See,
It's been fun.
It's
You
almost
can't,
over.
you just
Yeah.
can't take any more, huh?
It turned into,
What are we, the nightly date night?
She wouldn't hold my hand during the meeting, so it's like, it can't be a date night.
It's not 11:30 yet. Jimmy Fallon's not starting yet. You can stay.
Oh, we got about 4 minutes, cause I told Pete.
Yeah,
I'd
then the
be
alarm
out
goes
at
off
10.
at 5. You just tell
You
it
got
snooze.
3 minutes.
We're almost at the bottom of this
Some
one.
recreation to take care of.
I'm not even gonna go there.
I'm gonna look that up. Too much information.
So, we make it, we made it through.
Right. I'm good with the rest of the numbers.
DPW lease went to 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, took care of that last year.
The year before last, they had extra money supposed to be on all these.
So, Peter, what have you got on the bottom of yours for this year actual?
51,1628.
51,162.80.
280. 28.
Yes. Yeah.
We saved
Can
him for
you
last.
send me
He
the?
took 20 freaking minutes.
Thinking the same thing. But he's got more budgets. We still got the, doing landfill budget.
Yeah, well, that's,
Oh,
should be
man.
landfill budget, Jesus.
Oh, yeah, this one here.
What about transfer
Yeah, we
station?
got transfer station.
Well, I'm saying,
Yeah, no, it's just,
the landfill is contractual other than $1,000 for mowing. It actually went down 7180.
yep,
Let me get.
6180?
71.
7180.
Oh, yes, the total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I not have?
Transfer station.
This one, yeah, there is.
How come that's going up?
Now, 'cause more trips, more trash.
Going up 30,000. What'd you have for an actual for this year? I got 51,888, 881.
I got 73,240.
Are the salaries correct?
Yep.
Well, that's,
Something's not right here.
that's only, that's a 2.5% increase. I don't know, you don't wanna give them an increase like do actual.
No,
We're
it
doing
would
the
be.
merit pool for
Yes,
part-time.
yeah, yeah.
Based on 2.5, so I'm working that too.
Yeah, that's good.
2, 5.
Yeah, they should all be with DPW.
You looking at transfer station now?
Yes, yeah.
You're not giving them uniforms.
No.
No,
you
they
know
get
what?
their stuff for free, it's right there.
They get first dibs.
Yeah,
Mike and Ike.
yeah, trucking,
Electricity, budgeted 14, paid 490, asking for 1680. So there's something wrong here.
His numbers are different than
Or
yours.
those
What-
actuals aren't right.
yeah, like
Well,
electricity.
Last year was 60.
I spent $574, so we can probably go down on that.
574
Yep.
so far.
So we'll call it 600.
600.
Disposal of tires, we didn't pay anything, and you're looking for the same amount for next year.
Didn't fill a trailer yet?
I paid $900 in this year. That's for rental for the trailer, so that's going out
Going when?
next month.
Why not this month?
Well, again, we'll get hit $3,000.
So,
I'm gonna get hit for 3,000 at.
Yeah, whatever, how many tires are in there.
Right, but we've got it, and we've still got it.
no,
No, we don't, you
Yeah,
spent,
we don't have
overspent,
enough.
yeah. We overspent the budget.
so do we rent the
You
trailer?
know,
If they don't take a trailer out,
my sheet
Yeah,
shows that we're under budget by.
He's like
900.
73,240. He's
Where,
over
where did
budget.
you get that number from?
Pete just gave it to us. Weren't you paying attention?
No, I wasn't. You gave us the total on the transfer station this year?
yeah, 73,240.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
Where were you? Now,
I didn't hear.
I didn't hear.
73.
Jay and I,
Thank you.
Jay and I both got, because we both said it, number's not right, what's the real one? And he gave it to us.
and I'm the deaf guy in the room. How did that-
What'd you say?
What could we buy a box trailer for? Any idea?
Dad?
No, like, we got up there, them boxes.
7,000, I saw one
50 footers.
online the other day.
Oh, the
Yeah,
yellow
well,
boxes?
Yeah.
the problem is you'll spend as much getting it here
Doesn't come with wheels.
as,
Why?
I got a friend with a tractor, we could probably move anything. I'm sorry, I misspoke, I meant a
'cause
box.
we looked into
The
one for
trailer.
church and it,
The trailer.
Depends what you get.
because you can
Anywhere
get them
from
cheap
5 to
down at the,
7,500.
in Boston, but it's getting it from Boston to here that you gotta pay.
Get somebody backhaul that's going
I
down
want
there.
in range.
I bet you I'd have donated a truck down in Boston.
No, we don't go to Boston. We'll go anywhere else, but not Boston.
Yeah,
What do they charge to
I
get
don't know if we
it
bought a
today?
trailer, it would save ourselves some money.
Depends on the size.
of the
I
tires.
was thinking the same thing, you know?
$2
I
per
mean,
trailer.
save $1,000 a year.
25.
Pay
Just put them at the end of your
tractor tires,
driveway.
500 bucks for a
They
trailer.
disappear.
John, you are on camera.
They don't disappear. They were buried on the property that we bought.
That's illegal.
Oh,
I
you can't do
know,
that.
but I know that's Mrs. Willard, she's dead now.
One of
Uh,
those cemeteries?
Trucking. What'd you pay this year?
10,069.
10,069.
That's
Yeah.
for trucking.
Are we not looking into operating the transfer station any longer?
I just assume not run any longer.
Huh? Say that one again?
You don't wanna run, well, you wanna open it more often,
No,
less often?
no.
Somebody else running it,
I thought you were looking into
buying stuff.
buying the truck, sharing the truck, and buying the dumpster and the compactors.
Yeah, we need $60,000 to get started. That's the compactors and the.
Well, you spent 73.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah, but
trucking's what's killing me. $155 a trip.
So if we had the truck
Yeah.
and an employee with a CDL,
Yeah.
Oh, I need CDLB, that's it.
Has it,
No.
where does, no. But you were looking into that,
Well,
so.
I was. You know, we'd have to, but, yeah, have a warrant out to buy the stuff.
But we would have to have the information to make a decision to know whether it's.
Wow, see if it's feasible to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's feasible to do it.
Can you put
so
something
it's
together?
a start,
I'll start at 60,000 just for the
and then,
equipment up there, that don't include the truck.
so what do you think it costs to do it?
But you can do a lease purchase or something, right?
What, for a truck or equipment?
No, for the equipment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for 1 year.
Oh, sure,
So it still costs us 60 grand by the end of the year.
for one
They'll
year.
only do a lease for 1 year.
A lease purchase, you mean?
Yeah.
But if we can show that, a
The
5-year
biggest
payback.
problem is where do we get rid of it?
Mm-hmm.
You
The fees.
know, well, the red's there, it's, he told me $200 a ton. Yeah. Other than that, unless we go to Pinnachuck and copy it, if we do that, well, Rinse's truck ain't gonna make that many more miles. That's 16 years old, over almost 200,000 miles.
What's in Central Mass, anything?
Fitchburg. It's, a lot of them right now going to Pennachuck, price per ton's cheaper there.
What about Nashua?
And they take the same place.
I see the trucks going in.
Yeah, they probably have a transfer station, just like Keene. Goes in
No.
and 4 o'clock in the morning, I see the truck heading out, heading north.
I don't know, for some reason I'm thinking they've got a big hill over there. But they may not be taking it from
Keene, they might
others.
not be.
No, in
No,
Nashua.
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 Yeah.
I know there's a place up Berlin that takes it, but that's.
Yeah, we're
that's
not
a
gonna
long
go to
trip.
Berlin, yeah.
But I did it for Ringe, and we saved, paid for the equipment 3 years.
What'd you really pay on demo removal?
Year to date,
Yeah,
right now it's 15,771.
What'd you really pay?
15,775,
771.
771.
I can.
Can you also have for the next meeting
There's no surprise,
the
it's 100%.
revenues by department?
Trash, Pete, what'd you pay?
23,487.
Even if it's seeded or, even if it's too late.
paper,
$6,059.
this is ridiculous. Trash bag. we got
Why
money
is this
back.
going just, are we taking in that much more? Every one of these has just gone up.
Well, figure $155 a trip. The trash is.
No, but I'm asking,
Uh,
what I'm looking at is, are we selling more stickers than normal? That we've got more people coming there now, or?
Actually, we've been averaging $400 to $500 a week. And taking.
But that's on demo.
But I don't know about trash bags, cause I don't get that.
Well, because
print off.
I know pretty much every, like my dumpster cost went up this year again. So I'm probably a lot of people thinking, you know, especially for garbage, if it's what, $25 for the dump sticker. I don't know, I haven't had one in years.
It's 20, it's 40 for 2 years.
Yeah, you know,
I think you pay for the bags and whatnot.
yeah, but
That's what I'm saying, I'm
But
just curious why it's,
I think it's cheaper to use a transfer station. I have shops pick it up
Yeah.
because I'm not around on weekends, so
Yeah.
I have somebody put it out because I don't wanna
Yeah.
hang it around. But if you do the numbers, it's cheaper to take your trash to them.
yeah, I mean,
Put
it's,
it down.
yeah, you know,
No doubt.
I get mine picked up once a month, once a month. They do ours, and it's, well, I think I'm paying
Thank you.
70 a month now.
Are you leaving already?
I am.
Just leave early.
I get up at 5 in the morning, I'm on the way to Bedford by 6 every morning. I gotta go. I'm old when you guys.
no, you're not.
No,
Well, then most of them.
Some of
I
us.
think you'd be surprised. You don't know how old Pete is.
Don't know what.
Pete is.
Because I'd like to see where our revenue
Revenue
has been.
balances off,
Yeah, see,
yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And I
Too
notice
much.
I go up there Saturdays.
So
I don't
somebody
go up
let
every
me know
Saturday,
when
but it's
we're
busy.
gonna meet again, right? Because we're gonna meet again right before.
I was thinking I might put a little poll out to see what
Availability.
I already told
Yeah.
him when I'm available.
We've already discussed.
you have, okay.
All of
What
us
do you got?
said, all of us said the first except
What do you got
David.
for a day?
You wanna be here on the
Mark.
first?
You guys
Let's
discussed
see,
it?
you wanna be here?
No, discuss.
If everyone else is gonna be here,
New Year's Day?
It's all dependent on when we get to the spreadsheet. Tomorrow?
But you're not
Did you
gonna,
say tomorrow?
Who you talking to? I hope not me.
you're not gonna have final budgets for us to look at, right? By New Year's Day.
It's pretty current.
As of prior to this meeting,
I got some.
we still have the town office, something has to get adjusted on that. Town clerk,
You do it
treasurer,
this
because, some of these are because of, salaries. I don't know why I still have legal not highlighted. We did cemetery,
Thanks, Pete, you got a ride.
police. Police, we're waiting for.
I have his revised, I'll send that out.
There's more with the animal control officer. Did you get the email from the police department?
Yeah.
Okay, well, somebody was.
So we're gonna
Right.
fund the control officer position? Cause we ain't getting the woman from Greenville.
There are some loose ends that still need discussion.
yeah.
Well, the
That's
discussion
the,
was, seemed to be for it until the option of the woman in Greenville came up.
Well, I think what I was looking at was, I'm saying, they had said, well, Greenville, well, there's other towns around us that I'd say we should reach out to them to see what they have for resources if we couldn't.
That's how Greenville came up, 'cause she was
Yeah.
supposedly doing it for
Temple.
Jaffrey.
She
Oh,
lives
I
in
thought it was
Jaffrey,
Temple.
She does it for Greenville.
She lives.
Okay.
Last I knew,
Anyway,
I don't know. Could
They
check.
couldn't even get a hold of her to ask her, never mind, had a dog
Yeah.
call.
Yeah, that's not a good
Like I said, the board is gonna be the emergency management one.
Yeah.
DPW, we just did outside lighting.
who does that?
Not me.
Board of
I'll put
Selectmen.
that together.
Yeah.
And,
Transfer station,
we need to,
the help.
there was like one piece on fire we need to look
Yeah.
at.
So do we need to sit down with you guys one more meeting to finalize everything and then get us a done spreadsheet?
I think the board needs to meet to wrap up a lot of these, regarding
salary
salaries.
pieces.
Yeah, the personnel.
Yeah,
Right.
and then once we have that, the only one that I see on here that we have not looked at all is Heritage Commission.
And that's me.
I thought,
And the budget, I think the budget, somewhere around $500. There was some postage in that, there's some fundraising stuff in that. I'm sorry, I'm so ill prepared. They did ask me to present it, and I had a sheet to present. I have no idea where it is, but
So I'm just at, our next official meeting, like, right now, currently scheduled, would be the 8th, right? And we have to, so the budget hearing would have to be the 15th,
But we gotta get it to the budget committee.
right,
Yeah,
before, because it has gotta be advertised on the 8th,
we got big
on the
cuts.
15th, so,
Selectmen's budget.
And,
just the DPW.
I don't care. I won't grade a little
so we'll
crap
have to
on
meet
it.
that first week at some point.
So.
It's gonna have to, I mean, cause really, it has to be the,
I mean, if you want, we could finalize it on the 8th for the hearing on the 15th.
I think we have to, right?
right,
we're gonna have to meet before that.
right, that's what I'm saying, we have to meet before
Yeah.
that.
So,
So Wednesday night or Thursday night? 'Cause Tuesdays are all holidays.
and Mondays are eves.
Wednesday, the 2nd, unless they decide they're not gonna meet, the 2nd's
Wednesday the
planning.
3rd?
They
Oh,
don't
I'm
meet
sorry.
till 7.
Who meets at
Wanna
7?
meet on Thursday?
Thursday the 3rd,
No, Thursday the 27th.
probably could, yeah.
Just to discuss budgets?
Yeah, to
5
go
o'clock?
up the salary. No, not at 5 o'clock.
Why not at 5
Why not?
o'clock?
You guys that work half a day, I can't
Yeah.
keep
I'm
up
actually
with you.
off,
That's gotta work too.
school break.
Are you gonna be there? Or is that the day you-
5:30?
Did you pick up a part-time job?
Is that the
No.
following?
Peter, you need out?
So many appointments.
Yeah.
You had one Thursday.
I can clear all the mailboxes out of the way.
Yeah, sure.
You're gonna get the phone calls anyway.
The middle of the road will be clear as anything,
So next
cause that's where I'll be driving down.
No, everyone to come in once. Well,
5:15?
they can meet without us.
Let me know what you
5:30.
5:30.
Where you going? We haven't even
decide.
cleared the meeting yet. There was
Make a
no,
motion to adjourn.
can't do that.
Well, I just did. I can do it just as well as anybody else. Can I get a second? You guys have fun.
5:30.
We'll adjourn. 5:30.
Yeah.